Wag wag lids, before this amazing episode of Have a Word, we need to tell you about our Patreon, which is one of the best Patreons in world comedy.
We are officially the fastest growing Patreon on the planet at the minute. Fastest growing Patreon, and that's because for just £3, £5 or £10 a month, you get an extra episode a week, early access to these public episodes, and access to the entire back catalogue of all the Patreon stuff we've done in the past, which includes
The specials, the ghost hunts, the lockdown lock-ins, which are now fucking legendary. Some of the live shows. It's the best money you will ever spend.
the roast event is going on Patreon early in March. You get to see that. You also get early access to my tour tickets, Dan's tour tickets, live show tickets. And to be honest with you, live show tickets don't really last very long on Patreon. So if you're not a patron, you're probably not being able to come to any of them that we've put on recently. You're only going to get to be there if you sign up at patreon.com/haveawordpod and join the 10,000 strong army of fucking lunatics.
Megan.
Wag wag leads, you're listening to the funniest podcast in the game with Adam, Dan, Sensei Carl and Finn. This is the one and only Have a Word.
Brought to you by manscaped.com, the very best in below the belt men's grooming.
Go Ed, get on me.
Welcome to the Have a Word podcast with me, Dan Nightingale, and...
All right, Lids.
Oh, Jesus Christ. And it's Vittorio Angelone. Hello. Is that your scouse? Is that what? All right, lads. You sounded a bit more Mancunian, actually. All right, lads.
Are you going to disagree with me about how I'm doing someone else's accent after the number of times you've cunted my accent up the wall?
Yeah, of course. But you've got your accent. Of course I'm going to cunt you because you sound very you. You know what I mean? I know it's white on white racism, but you have a very strong, specific accent that has been very fun to do over the last few years. And I don't mean it with any disrespect, says a man that's opening his tour in Belfast on September 3rd. Hi, everyone, you're all right. 4th, sorry. I'm very aware of that as an opening tour bit. Be like, hello, I'm a friend of Vittorio, he's here. But
that'll win over half of the audience.
Northern Irish is just too high. It's too difficult not to do. I'll bad. How bad is mine? Is mine bad?
It's pretty bad. Like, it's not great. And it's funny you saying I have a
It's not great, but it's not fucking terrible.
Yes, I've heard much worse.
I've
heard much worse on stage in the West End in plays.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's
what play was that? Oh,
The Ferryman.
The Ferryman. I love it. What are you going to see tonight, Vittorio? The Ferryman, like I do every night. It's my culture.
Did I ever tell you the best thing I ever saw in a play related to Northern Ireland vaguely?
Yeah, you did. All right. Anyway, so thanks for listening. No, go on. Do you really, as a Northern Irish guy living in London, go, fuck, I can't wait to see Northern Irish plays at the West End?
I've learned my lesson. Basically,
I miss my mommy, but I love theatre. I miss my Marnda, but I've got culture and theatre. I've got the West End.
But you just hear English actors going, all right, ma, how's it going? And you're like, no,
wow.
That's fucking terrible.
That is actually a play about a Geordie car crash. Hello, man. I got a brain injury. Like, I fucking crashed the food cortina in our wall. Well, I'm going to try. This is what I'm going to promise. Okay. And I don't know if I can stand by this. Rest of the episode, no shit Belfast.
No, do it, because I'll do all sorts of accents.
Right, okay,
This story,
cool.
I'll do an Indian accent in this story. That play that I went to see, it's about the Indian Revolution. And it was about the more aggressive side of it than Gandhi. But there was a guy playing Gandhi in the play. And he, full kit Gandhi.
He Gandhi'd up. He browned up.
Was he brown?
Yes, of course he was.
Okay, just checking. I don't know how long ago you went to watch it.
No, but was he...
What, 100 years?
Do you know how mental it is that Vittorio being here instead of Adam felt less unusual than Finn just being able to talk into a microphone? How absolutely absurd that just felt. And he delivered it so nice. He's got such a good speaking voice, and he came in and it was well timed, producer-like. but it still freaked me out.
Last night at a gig, at my gig, someone came up to me after the show and was like, "Do you do radio?" And I was like, "No." And they were like, "Why do you talk like that then?"
What?
They said, "When you do your bits, you sound like you're reading the news."
Really?
Oh,
Apparently
wooden. You're very wooden.
I'm doing bits like, and then I said this, and da 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 da.
Oh no, you're not.
I
You're
don't
not
think
that
I
bad.
do that.
You do sound like a joke teller when you do your bits.
Yes.
You have a format. I watched you last week at New Bits in Liverpool where you were fucking brilliant. And weird because we both had the thing around. We've never watched each other do stand-up. You said that to me. You were like, "I've never seen you do stand-up." And I was like, "I've never seen you do stand-up. And I've booked you for a lot of gigs on my tour." I've booked Vittorio just solely off the fact that I've seen loads of his videos doing stand-up and they're fucking brilliant. You've been on here in virtually every form of like, you've been a guest, you're now a co-host and everything. And also I like hanging out with you. But there was a weird moment of like, imagine if he walks up and he's just absolutely dog shit live. You were fucking great. But good. You do I have a very performative storytelling conversational style with caricatures and whatever. Yours is I watched yours and it's a more like an American influenced.
Yeah.
Like not full Jerry Seinfeld or whatever, but like a more like, it feels like even though you're telling it as an observation or a story, it feels like a joke. So maybe that's what they mean. And
I'm trying to get that out of my stand-up because on some level, I don't like when my stand-up sounds like stand-up or like you can see the cogs moving and like, you know, that's the setup, that's the punchline. Because I like those Irish comedians where it's just a fog of madness.
Jason Byrne, Tommy Tiernan.
Yeah, when Tommy Tiernan's on stage, it's just a man losing his shit.
I have to admit, they're the guys that, right from the off when I got into stand-up, they're the guys that I was like, I don't know. Like, I want to sit there going, I don't know what I'm watching. It's a little bit magic. I love that. But there is also something beautiful about the control of like, there's no fat on the jokes.
Yeah.
They're well delivered. I'm getting like, two of my favorite American comics at the moment are Chris DiStefano, who is just a ball of energy, and he's like, it's like he's never said anything before. It's like every bit of material. It's like everything he says is new material, except that like that 9/11 story that obviously went viral is one of the best bits of stand-up ever because it's obviously so pertinent to New Yorkers, and it was on the anniversary of 9/11, and his mum was in Tower 2 or whatever, and he's lived it, and he's smashed a fucking chair over some kid's head at a Catholic college that he's at, and then his dad, who is a Tony Balls with a Z, is a gangster and comes in to talk to the priest to say, "Don't expel my son." You're watching the thing going, this is one of the most compelling, funny stories. And then also Chrissy D's got this weird ADHD style where he gets bored of his own story while he's doing it. But you watch it going, I don't know if you've ever told this story before or if this is just your style, and this is one of the most practiced stories you've got, but your style is, like you were saying, like mayhem.
Yes.
And then I also been watching Mark Normand, who is a real joke teller. Like opposite. Everything feels like it's like in the format of the I tell you what I noticed, and then I did this
comedy,
and I think it's all quite appealing. Yeah, but I know which one I can only be one of those. I can only be the Chrissy D. I just haven't got the control to do the other.
I think I'm trying to do the one that I'm not necessarily naturally inclined to, because when there's a bit of smoke and it just sounds like ranting, I think the punchlines can hit better, because once you get into the rhythm of a joke, the audience is like, oh, da 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 da, and they kind of see it. But whereas when it's just and when Chrissy D just hits you with like a line and a line and it just sounds like a story, but all the writing's there, all the jokes are in there.
All the jokes
always
are there.
Have to be in there.
They're just they're not quite as clearly like labeled joke, are they?
Yeah.
Like, you watch the real joke tellers, you start getting their rhythm, and a crowd starts going, I know where the punchline will be. Yeah. And I remember being in New Zealand at the comedy festival. And over there, they really like to know when you think the punchline is.
Oh, I hate that.
It's like, I'm not slagging off the Kiwi crowds, but I was like, I had stories that were bits that were like observations within a performance. Like, and they didn't have, like, in the end, I just want you to go, fuck, that's funny. Like, I didn't know exactly where the punchline was. I just developed these bits. Some of them were just funny for the sake of the, like, the funny. And Kiwi crowds like, I'm not sure what you just did there. Like they weren't sure where it was. And then there's guys like Mark Norman, Jerry Seinfeld, or Gary Delaney's doing proper jokes, but the guys who it looks like a conversational, observational delivery, but it had crowds really like the rhythm of like, oh, now we know. And then there's the other side of that where I think it becomes a bit too formulaic. I've slagged him off on here before. I'm sure he's a nice man, but Andy Parsons, it's too much, man.
I fucking and you fucking and you fucking
and you're like, oh my god! It's every joke starts with a
I fucking think of he and then he and then he and then he.
And then the crowd like, once they hear a, they're like, that's the punchline. You could honestly have never learned a foreign person who's never learned any English without even having other audience members around and could work out when the end of Andy Parsons, where the laugh is.
So are you changing your delivery in Australia then? Or is it kind of the same?
Finn, great question. Thanks for asking. I'm glad we got you a microphone. Great input there. Fuck Carl. And shut Carl. And love you, mate. I'm never going back, Finn. That's the answer there. Yeah. I have found a lot of success in a podcast studio with you, Bellens, 20 minutes from our household. I've done my stint of the old international tours until Laura leaves me, and then I'm packing my bag and fucking going everywhere. But I was 10 years in, 7-8 years in when I first got to New Zealand to the comedy festival. I wasn't like, oh, my style that I've been doing since I started stand-up, I just do the other gear.
No, I mean
I didn't have
delivery.
I just didn't have another gear. You have to just sort of get on with it and go, God, yeah. Also, I was new. The next time I went, I was just a better comic, and I was playing a smaller room where they'd just come to see me, and that was fucking amazing. But the big room comedy that I initially did in New Zealand, yeah, it did feel like I didn't quite have the right rhythm for it. In truth, some of my bits weren't that funny. That's the thing I sort of probably didn't know at the time. Looking back, I probably do know that. But yeah, have you done any foreign gigs? Because that is the trajectory of where you're going.
No, I
once
haven't.
you sort your wooden rhythm out, you're really gonna. And here is another joke of mine. I will not relinquish my right to deliver punchlines in this rhythm.
I think it comes from gigging in London though, because all you get is fucking 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, and the stage time's so tight all the time that unless you want to spend your whole set on one premise, I just rinse through premises. I'm so bad at developing jokes,
right,
for longer sets. To like when you're talking about, oh, I've got this bit. I think it'll be like a 10-minute bit at the end of my show.
Yeah.
And I'm like, my longest bit, I think, is 2 minutes long.
Yeah. Because your longest gig is 10 minutes in London.
That's it.
Yeah.
I did my first 10 at the Comedy Store last week.
Yeah, you don't do one bit at your first 10 at the Comedy Store.
No, I got a big boo though.
Really?
Did you do what you talked to me about in the car?
Yeah, I did the Ukraine joke.
They were good jokes, the Ukraine jokes.
No, that wasn't what got the boo.
Oh, right, yeah. You were like, fuck Ukraine. Yeah, I'm a bit edgy. Guys.
Yeah, but it's funny because I have like in the opener of my set, I have like a Paralympics joke, a Ukraine joke, and then I go into this thing that like mentions the Chuckle Brothers, and then I go, oh, rest in peace. And then they were like, oh, and I was like, is that the fucking line? Like, I did a whole Paralympics joke, and you were like, ah, but you're like, the Chuckle Brothers, enough of this offensive comedy, okay?
Oh,
and then they all just started going, boo.
But I don't know the disabled person. I miss Barry Chuckle. Hang on, no disrespect, I don't know which.
It's Barry, yeah.
Is Barry gone?
Yeah, Barry's gone.
That's the B-side to Laura's.
I've got no. I went to press it, and it's... Barry Chuckle's dead. I am Adam. He's not here. Fuck him.
But I had so after my set, I'm on in the first half after Mick Ferry, actually, which is annoying because I didn't really get to watch him.
No, you were concentrating.
I was shitting myself down.
Right.
Go to the back of the room, and I'm just standing there watching, and then a man of Asian descent.
Wasn't expecting it. Came up and said,
no, collapses.
Oh.
Beside me.
How did he collapse? Can you make that sound?
That was Nelson Mandela, wasn't it?
I don't know what part
You're
of
like,
the
oh my God, I
Asian
recognize him from, were you Gandhi? Sorry, go on.
So he
A fellow
collapses-
performer.
an artist. He's like when someone like slowly like copes and just like folds it into the floor.
Like sort of crumples.
Yeah. And I was like, shit, because I am a first aider technically, but like, fucking.
Yeah, but you're a first gigger.
I've never had to do it. Do you know what I mean?
Oh no, you don't. Not in your first 10 at the comedy store. That's the awful thing. Comedians are so vacuous and like, I need to get progression. Like he's dying. I know, but I've not even done. I've not even done the Ukraine bit. I'm still getting over Barry Chuckle.
So this isn't when I'm on stage. This is when I'm at the back.
Right, cool.
Rosie Jones is on stage.
Okay, cool.
Smashing it, doing really well. Back of the room, this guy like stacks it, and then I go over to him and just be like, "Oh, mate, are you okay?" Just try and wake him up, and the bouncer goes, "Are you a doctor?" And I was like, "I was just over there, like 20 minutes ago." Now, do you think I'm a fucking doctor? And he was like, but I was like, no.
You'd
man.
already been on.
Yeah, I'd already been on.
You'd already been
So I'm
on,
just
and this
watching
guy was
from the
like,
back.
I have no idea who you are, but are you a doctor?
I was like, are you a doctor? I was like, what the fuck?
Because I tell you what, you're not. A paid 20. Imagine
You
if
must have a day job. You
Yeah.
must have a day job.
I've just seen you perform, but are you a doctor? Like, I'm just worried about your income.
So he stacked it, and then I kind of shake him and go, "Oh, you're right, man." And he was like, "Yeah, man." I was like, "What the fuck's going on?" And I was like, "Do you know where you are?" And he was like, "Yeah, the comedy thing." And I was like, "All right."
Has he had a heart attack, or is he just stoned? What's happened?
So I was like, "How many drinks have you had?" And he was like, "Just one or two." And I was like, I don't know what the fuck's wrong with this guy. So I go, "Do you reckon we could sit up?" And he was like, "No, I'm just going to sleep here for a couple minutes." And I was like, "Mate, that's not an option. You're currently at the back of the comedy store. This isn't going to work." And he goes, "All right, okay." And then we get him sat up. Me and the bouncer pick him up to try and just get him outside for some air because it was just hot and it's packed. It's like 400 people all rammed in. And we go to walk him towards the door, and he just goes again. And he just completely like stacks it back down again. Dear. He lies down. I put him in the recovery position, and then he gradually wakes up again. I'm like, "Hey, mate, you just took another little tumble there." And then we get him upstairs eventually. Anyway, get him up. And his glasses had come off, and I gave him his glasses back. And it was like, do you know the opposite of those kung fu movies where the guy takes off his glasses and he's suddenly sick? Opposite, glasses on. He was like, "I'm fine."
What?
He was grand.
He's absolutely fine.
Absolutely fine. We get him up, get him a drink of water, and he go upstairs, glasses on. He's like, "Yeah, man, just had a panic attack." It was just very claustrophobic, very kind of.
So, wow. I didn't know panic attacks sort of like showed themselves like that. Like, I thought if you had a panic attack, he went really drunk and sleepy.
He fainted basically. I go to when I have anxiety attacks, I get super sleepy. I fell asleep in 3 of my GCSEs.
Did you do well?
So yeah, I aced them, man.
Oh, lovely.
But I had like
What a fight or flight that is.
it's so.
Oh no, I feel stressed.
Anytime I have loads,
Good night.
anytime I have loads of shit to do, I'm like, no.
This is going to be stressful. So sleepy.
Just trying to fight, like keep my eyes open.
You'd be great if you were driving. If you lost control of a car at 80 miles an hour, like, oh no! Rockabye, baby.
He was asleep at the wheel, but not when it started to go wrong.
I don't know where he got the fucking pillow from.
But we get him upstairs, and then I go back into the green room, and it was so funny. I went, then I was like, "Oh, Rosie, like I only saw the first half because this guy fucking collapsed." And without missing a beat, she goes, "Is it because I was crushing it so hard?"
Yeah, it was. He had a panic attack. He was like, oh no.
Like, oh!
I'm not a fan of women in comedy. It just challenged every belief we had. Like, oh no, oh my God, she's excellent. She's objectively excellent. He'd rather stack it than. I just picked Vittorio up from the station and had an episode myself. Very upset.
What's happened?
I'm very upset with how that played out. Yo,
The station's a stressful place at times. Is that what it was?
Will, they just finished Runcorn fucking station.
I know.
Talk about
Oh my god!
trying to fucking put glitter on a shit.
When was the first time I was here? 2 years ago.
Yeah.
November 2020.
Encyclopedia.
I'd only just joined. He was my second episode.
All right, cool. I thought you were genuinely
he was my second episode.
gunning for Carl's job. Nothing. I've actually
there.
done some research.
Yeah, and it's always just
It's
we're making it
constant.
better.
I think they are. It's just not quick enough.
No harm the Runcorn. I got a bit defensive. Someone on the train on the way up was like, "Oh, yeah, Runcorn, it's a bit of a shithole," to the person.
I know. I
beside
did.
when I was like, "How fucking dare
We
you?"
have a lot of listeners from Runcorn, and I'm sure some of them get a bit pissed off with us slagging it off. Like, I'm from nowhere better. Like, Preston is like, shout out Preston, Runcorn, just like working class northern town and everything. That's fine. I'm not above it in any way. Just finish your fucking railway station, Runcorn. For the love of shit. It's just a bit of pave. I was just watching these builders just wander around, like, you know, when like fucking contractors are like, I didn't do that there. You just fucking pick a brick up and stick it somewhere. You lazy, fat, illuminous fuck.
Stick it somewhere.
2 years.
Right, fucking stick it somewhere, you dickhead.
You built the fucking Mersey Flow. There's now a redundant bridge. There's the rip-off bridge. And these cunts can't get paving down in front of Runcorn Station, which is a 2-platform station with a waiting room for 8 people.
Yeah.
Like, just finish the fucking thing. Jesus Christ. So I'm parking up outside a nursery. I've been called a nonce so many times on this thing. I actually have this, I had this thing of like, I probably shouldn't park near a nursery. Just in case someone from the podcast goes, "Hey, Dan, you fucking nonce." And I'm like, parked up next to a nursery. Someone who were there sort of drove past and looked at me like, "Why are you parked there?" And I'm sure she's thinking, it's double yellow lines. But in my head, it was like, "Dan Nightingale, get away from the nursery." I'm CRB checked. I've got kids. So I moved into a frankly unsafe place to park. Vittorio was coming out. I'd got a little kind of iron brew, no sugar energy, you know, because we're here. Two of the king lids are not here today. So Dan's come to compete. That's what we're doing. We're going to do his voice and potentially Gandhi's several times more. It's going to be a great episode. Phil Nichol is a fucking legend, but I don't want to do this without caffeine. Bought a second one just in case. And it managed to roll onto, like, you know, the metal bits that the seat in a car is sort of stuck to.
Tracks on
Tracks.
Yeah.
There's obviously a bit of a corner. So just as I went to sort of clean up the area for Vittorio, one of these just hit the metal bit. And you know when
No.
you know when a can gets pierced? You know, if you do it on purpose, you're like, "Oh, hey, chuk, 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 chuk,
Yeah.
chuk." But it was such a large hole. It was comical. You could honestly try 1,000 times to make a hole and to make a spout of fucking fizzy orange toxic shit.
It was like an iron brew dolphin was in the front.
So I should have just let it roll on the floor because who cares?
Yeah.
It's black. I lifted it up to save it, and there was just like an arc.
Like you'd won a race.
It went all over the ceiling of the car. I was driving away and like Vittorio was laughing at me, and I went to brake and droplets had formed on the ceiling and they dropped onto my jeans because there was so much fluid on the ceiling of my BMW, which, by the way, I'm selling. I'm trying to sell.
Do an advert. Someone will want it.
A week before I'm going to sell it, I've fucking sprayed clearly toxic Scottish jizz. This is I don't even know what this is. This is not meant for your inside. It's definitely not meant for the roof of your fucking car.
It was so
Good God. It's going to smell weirdly
Wait, how is
tangy.
it going to look like a Rolls Royce?
Show the Rolls Royce, and you've got all like the little lights above. You've just got loads of specks of sugar, so
Yeah.
you can just sell it off as a Rolls Royce instead.
Actually, it's a no sugar.
Added
Steve.
20 grand, if anything.
So yeah, I was absolutely fuming with that. I'm getting I'm getting a bigger car.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want a BMW X5.
Nice.
Really put off by what Carl said that they're drug dealers' wives' cars. So every time I see one that's like really well looked after, if it's white, I won't buy it. Like, I've got nothing. I actually think they look good. 10, 12-year-old BMW X5s look really smart in white, but every time I see one on Auto Trader or eBay, I'm like, fucking drug dealer's wife's car. Carl, it's so funny what he instantly takes like hatred against. He's like, no, what? Fucking drug dealers. Why? And I can't get it out of my head, so I'm now looking for a black one or metallic grey that looks less like. Or and now I've just devalued my car by 1,500 quid like a fucking bellend.
1,500.
I don't know. I need some. I need some of the boys to get in there. We have special cleaning product. Yes, it take away all stains and also blind Yevgeny.
If you've just arrived from Ukraine and you want a job, fucking get on. Cleaning Dan's Iron
I was a cardiologist in Kiev. Now I clean. What even is this drink? I have never seen this. I have just less water on Ukraine, but I do not understand. Is it orange?
Last time
it's so orangey. It doesn't smell of orange.
Last time I saw liquid this color Chernobyl. What?
Yeah. Where did you get this? What reactor failed?
I don't even know what Iron Brew is, but it seems to fucking work. Seems to work. Yeah, man. Have you done broad gigs? Have you done? I mean, you're gonna want to, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're 25. You want to get out there.
Yeah, and the furthest I've done is Dublin. So I mean, whatever. And Dublin crowds are just very similar to London crowds.
My Dublin show is nearly sold out for the tour, which you'll be supporting me at.
Is it Whelan's?
It's Whelan's.
Yeah.
Belfast is only on sort of 30, 35 tickets. So if you fancy it, if you want to come see me on tour, Vittorio is supporting me on my Irish leg. It's the start of the tour, and I'll be at the Limelight on Saturday, the 4th of September.
Belfast crowds are weird though. I think some Belfast comedy audiences get dead protective of like Belfast comedians, and even I'm because I don't live there.
Right?
They're like, we go to see the people that don't leave.
Oh God!
And only gig here.
Oh shit!
Because you can't fucking leave.
Okay, you left. Oh, I'm taking a fucking dyke jumper. Oh no, I should have bought one.
A dyke jumper?
I know, you're not like the evil Knievel of lesbians. I get it. I know exactly what just happened here. Right, Leslie, lie down. Vittorio and his BMX. Woo! Like, you left. I should have bought one of the local lads.
I left before I even started stand-up. I don't know what I've done wrong. I couldn't figure out.
You should have moved back.
As soon as you start.
As soon as you even
stuff.
wrote a joke. Christ, I fucking love Belfast. I'm gonna perform this in Belfast and nowhere else.
When I started going back at first, I didn't really know how to do Belfast gigs because my whole comedy initial bit was in London, and I was just the Belfast guy. You know what I mean? Like you having like an angle on stuff when you're starting out, particularly, and you're like, all my jokes.
Yeah, you have a couple of angles, don't you? You're called Vittorio Angelone, and you're from Belfast, and you sound like that. Yeah. I mean, that's not. Like, you can't not deal with that.
It's not even it's not a choice. I just have to talk about it straight away.
Yeah.
I've tried not to. I'll try and do a gig where I don't mention my accent and I don't mention my name, and the whole crowd just sits there going,
"What the fuck?
Fucking hell."
So what happens when you get to Belfast?
Well, you can't be the Belfast guy.
No.
Because it's everyone.
They're pretty territorial about that, apparently.
And also...
Fuck you, you're not.
Every cunt's the Belfast guy.
Right.
So I'm just coming back going, this is what it's like over there. And they fucking hate that as well. So you have to reframe everything in different ways. But then I still have jokes that I'll write and go, that'll kill it in Belfast. But there's too much explaining to do in London. Like there's jokes I have about I started playing for East Belfast GAA over the lockdown.
Right.
And like if I said East Belfast GAA to someone in Belfast, they go, "Oh, that's fucking mad." It doesn't make any fucking sense to you.
What?
It's a basically a Protestant GAA club.
What's a GAA club?
Like Gaelic football and hurling and stuff.
It's Gaelic football and hurling. Yeah.
So, which is a
In
predominantly
lockdown.
Yeah,
in
just
London.
as it was coming up. No, in Belfast.
Right. I honestly thought East Belfast GAA had like a London branch.
No. And it's only just started. It's the first ever, well, it's like in recent times anyway, cross-community Gaelic club, because it would be hugely predominantly Catholic for those sports. Like if I wear a GAA top in like the wrong area of Belfast, it's
so
like like having "I'm a Catholic" on your forehead.
Right. Okay. So let me just like East Belfast is very Protestant.
Yep.
But hurling.
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 It's not the fucking ice one.
I'm being culturally insensitive, but he's white. Curling and Gaelic football. Hurling
and Gaelic football.
And Gaelic football predominantly, like
hugely predominantly Catholic.
Irish.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
It exists as a whole.
Yeah. So Croke Park is that stadium, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's all amateur the whole way up. But then, so they've set up this club to try and be like, hey, Protestants can do stuff as well. And
I love it. How Northern Ireland, the year 2022. Come on now. Gotta let these Proddy boys, have a little go. Wait, sure, we'll give them fucking sticks. Jesus Christ. Is it safe to give a Protestant a stick? It doesn't seem it.
But
they'll only use them. Do you know what they're like?
But people were freaking out, and I went to the first training session, and you can spot the Protestants generally.
How?
If I talk to someone from Belfast for more than 30 seconds, I can tell you whether they're a Catholic or a Protestant.
Right.
And I don't have to ask. It's not like I've gone, are you Catholic or Protestant? You just...
Is that a superpower you all have, or is that just you? Right, okay.
But that's not. How's that possible?
It's a vibe.
It's not. Is it how they wear the socks or something?
No. They're shit crack.
They're shit. Oh, right. Okay. Good.
Protestants have no banter.
Protestants just have no banter. If you mention the UDA and like the fucking, oh my god. Right. What? I don't understand though.
So they set up East Belfast, and you kind of.
So you came in and you were the first Protestants to play.
Well, I'm a Catholic.
Right.
I'm fucking half Irish.
No, of course you are.
I'm more Catholic
hang on,
than the fucking Pope.
So they were letting the Protestants in for the first time.
And it was encouraged for the Protestants to play. And listen, if you're a Protestant, you could have played for other clubs before that, but it just wasn't. This is the whole point of this club is to be inclusive.
It's like civil rights America. Like this is 50 years later.
There's going to be a Remember the Titans.
The only shame is these films have already been made. Denzel Washington's...
Get Denzel back involved, for fuck's sake. So I remember I was at one of the first training sessions, and I kind of spotted this Protestant guy, and I just wanted to check in to make sure he wasn't freaking out. I was like, oh man, how you getting on? How you finding it? And straight away, yeah, that's what they look like.
All right.
And he went, my wife thinks I'm cheating on her. And I went, what? And he went, I told her that I was coming to play for a Protestant GAA club, and she doesn't believe that any of this exists.
Wow.
So we apparently tried to prove it to her, because in Gaelic football you have to like kick the ball back up into your hand, called a toe tap or a solo.
Oh yeah, I love a toe tap or a solo. Yeah. I mean, I call hurling curling, but I really know Gaelic football, the ins and outs of it.
But he tried to show her in the living room and just booted the ball across the room, and she's like, "You're cheating on me."
I'm doing it. I'm just shit at it. Give me a chance.
So bad. They're all there and they're like Premier League football tops, and we're like, that's fucking foreign sport. That's disgusting.
So these Protestant lads are trying. Like, has he ever played it before? Or he's just given it a go.
None of them have ever played it before. I tell you what the funniest thing is this new.
And they'll get fucking kneecapped if anyone finds out.
There was bomb scares at the trainings.
What?
Yeah, people were so angry about it. Protestants were so angry about
This is mental.
Yeah, there was bomb scares. They're like found like wires under a car, and we had to evacuate the pitch.
When?
Like last year.
Oh, for God's sake!
Your gig's gonna be great.
This is all underpinned by Adam Rowe making me walk out at Belfast Limelight to God Save the Queen. The British national anthem.
How do you think that would actually go down if that's what he picks?
It'd be funny because there's a podcast in Belfast called the Mudblood Podcast, and it's a Protestant guy and a Catholic guy, and they would do tour support for each other, and they do that to each other,
right?
And it's dead funny, and it'll be all right.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, someone from the real IRA doesn't just fancy giving an English comedian a shot on a Saturday night in Belfast that night. I'm banking on the fact that everyone in there is like, yeah, he's a Bellend and his mate's a Bellend. This is funny.
No, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
It's going to be
the insane
fine.
People don't leave the road that they
it would be very, it would be unusual. Like, if you're in the IRA, and you've been, in a sleeper cell, it's not likely that on a Saturday night, I'm going to go and see some fucking comedy. Who's this? An English lad. Well, everything's forgiven. God save. Too far!
I fucking knew these cunts would do that.
If anything, it's probably what they think we walk out to. I fucking knew it.
Start of every comedy show in England. Just everyone stand up, all right, okay.
That's how they say it. Bastards. Fucking brilliant. Well, hey, good luck to that kid who's trying toe tapping for the first time.
Oh my God.
That young Protestant who's now been divorced by his wife.
The funniest bit is the spectators who've never been to the Gaelic games in their life because they don't know what to cheer at. Do you know what I mean? Like
so what, can I just ask, what are the Protestants playing? Just rugby and football?
Hockey, rugby.
Hockey is massively Protestant.
I have a thing where if you name anything in the world, I can tell you whether it's Protestant or Catholic and give a valid reason as to why.
Right, okay.
Like, name a thing.
Kabaddi.
What the fuck's Kabaddi?
Kabaddi. Do you remember Kabaddi? Oh no, it's well before your time.
Yeah, I'm very young.
Channel 4.
I remember it. The little, like, isn't it like British Bulldog?
It's yeah.
Sport.
Well, there you go.
It's Bangladeshi Bulldog, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds Protestant.
Okay. Any sport?
Anything.
Yeah.
Hopscotch. Very Protestant.
Why?
Very Protestant. Because, tell you why. Protestants love painting curbstones blue, white, and red in their areas. Leftover paint. 1, 2, 3. There we go.
That's
why.
Iron Brew.
Iron Brew. I would say Protestant because it's Scottish and the Protestant community from Northern Ireland were moved over from Scotland.
Okay. Bum sex.
Bum sex. Very Catholic. It's like our thing, isn't it?
Because you don't want like a 9th child, so.
No, because priests are class at it.
Very good. Very good. I didn't understand all of the jokes we made in that section.
Well over my head.
I didn't understand all of them. I tried to play along with a lot of them. And I tell you this, I would absolutely love to be, if we ever get over the water, I'd love to do a Patreon special where we try and get Adam and Carl playing Gaelic football. That would be fucking brilliant.
We're just
and hurling's the one where it's like there's the thing,
little ball,
the hurl,
yeah,
and you
slitter,
fucking twat it,
yeah,
and you can score through the post. And can you score a goal? Or
yeah, so a goal's 3 points, over the bar is 1 point.
And Gaelic football, you got to run for so long and then tap
4
tap
steps,
it up to
you
yourself.
can either bounce it or kick it back up into your hand, but you can't bounce it twice.
Ah, fucking quality. Yeah,
That's class.
I'd love to go on that.
But those Protestant spectators, funniest thing ever. They don't know what, they're like, random shit will happen. They'll be like, knock on, fucking handball. I don't know what they're doing. They look like, I don't know if you've ever experienced this, like when you go to Christmas Mass, but you haven't been to Mass in fucking ages, and they've changed all the words, and you're like kneeling at the wrong times and standing up.
I can see he's not been for a while.
Just like, and with your spirit and all this shit, and it's fucking, that's what they look like.
Right. Yeah, all right, cool. I'm looking forward to it. That's going to be us. Let's have a little break, and we'll speak to some fucking contributors. I don't know, I've never said that before.
That's odd.
I'm under all that pressure. I've just devalued my car by 1,500 quid. Fuck. Hello, everyone. Let's talk about one of our sponsors today. It's NordVPN. Now, I don't know loads about VPNs, but the man to my left here is addicted to the internet, and he's an expert.
See, the fact that you don't use VPN for your private little Danny time is insane to me. It's the most secure way to surf the internet. You can set your location to anywhere on the planet, and that means you get access to, like, you can change it to America, you get American Netflix. You can change it to, like, Saudi Arabia, and you get to watch the Premier League football with the 6 Saudi Arabian commentators on. You get to watch Premier League football that's at 3 o'clock that you can't get over here. It's just a sick way of tricking your computer or any device into thinking you're anywhere in the world. I can't recommend it enough. And the fact that they're now a sponsor and I get a membership of NordVPN for free it's my favourite sponsor I've had so far, apart from Manscaped, because they help me shave my balls.
The deal is a 2-year deal plus 1 month for just 65 quid, $89, which is about 65 quid. It's an amazing deal. It is at nordvpn.com/have a word, code word, have a word.
Go and get it. Watch the footy. Watch whatever you want. Tell your computer where you are. He doesn't get to tell you where you are. My computer sometimes looks at me without my VPN. I'm like, hey, we're in Liverpool here. And I'm like, no, you're not. You're in Belarus.
Nailed it. I don't think we've ever been as efficient as this as a
No, I think it's saying something.
podcast. It's just because Adam Rowe is just the difficult man to get in the room, off the couch, off his phone and recording. Like between all three of us, it feels like it takes a long time. And this podcast will maybe not hit the heights that old fucking Rowie Bags can hit, but I tell you what, it will finish on time.
And it will have a full stomach.
We might even squeeze in a Nando's before the legend that is Phil Nichol gets here. It was amazing being able to walk in and be like, can we just start? And everyone's like, yeah, we can just start. Woo! What was it like without Adam? Not maybe quite as good, but I tell you what.
Efficient. That's all I'm here for.
So, yeah, Adam's on tour. Obviously, we know that. But he's up in Scotland doing Glasgow, Edinburgh, and I think he's doing South Shields. And then they've managed to book Cardiff on the end of it.
Which is how you know Adam booked the tour. I don't need anyone.
He nailed
Such
it.
a bad accent.
I know he nailed it for that whole week, and then bang, Cardiff at the end. Just a bit of a pig of a drive right at the end. And Carl has gone with him. So we miss our boys. Hope they're having fun. If you got to see him this week, I'm sure you enjoyed. Tweet about it, message about it, let people know that you've been to see Adam on tour. Those tweets really do fucking help. Those messages, those putting things on your story on Instagram. I know we ask for it, but it really does help spread the word and also sell tickets for Adam's tour. I think there's a total of, just check, 14 tickets left for the whole tour. My tour starts in September and there is a few more available. I've got a big announcement to make. I'm starting a comedy club in Chester. Ooh. I'm starting a regular circuit comedy club where I compare it. We've got 4 Saturdays between now and the end of the year, and then we will be going monthly from there on in. I'm running it with my mates Antonio and Rummy, who are my mates from Chester, who I've known since the Laugh-In days 10 years ago. Stayed in touch with them, and they've constantly mentioned about wanting to get back into comedy. And like, all joking aside, I don't want to go to New Zealand and Australia anymore. I've got my family, I've got this, and I'm building that. And the tour is amazing that I get to spend September, August, November, and hopefully do that every year and do this for the rest. But I want a monthly Saturday gig in the wonderful city that I live. I love Chester. It's a great place to hang out, and it's got a weekly comedy night on a Friday at Alexander's that Danny Mack books. But I think it's wide open on a Saturday. So I found this amazing space. It's called St. Mary's. It used to be a church, and they've turned it into a creative space. And so from June the 11th, we will be running a Saturday night there. We've got August 20th, we've got September the 24th, and Saturday, November the 26th. So there's 4 Saturdays available. The ticket links will be available in the YouTube comments. I'll have those set up. The first show on June the 11th is going to be headlined by today's guest, Phil Nichol, which makes me look like a very organised person, but that's just how it fell. He applied for it this week. So I'm really excited. It holds 200 people. The church is absolutely beautiful, and I'm just booking this gig to right all the wrongs of 20 years of gigging for bellends who didn't know how to... 20 years of turning up going, what the fuck is this venue? What the fuck is this bill? I want to run a gig where real comedy fans of this podcast, but also fans of comedy in the Northwest and from Chester, get to go, listen, we don't like all the comedy nights available. We're not a big fan of this one or that one, but Dan runs a really good comedy night. And I'm hoping it's going to take off. So Phil Nichol is headlining the first. Scott Bennett's headlining August the 20th. September the 24th is headlined by Phil Taylor. Phil the
Power Taylor.
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
We booked Phil Taylor. Yeah. I mean, I wanted Finn Taylor to, the brilliant comedian that's been on the podcast, but we actually got Phil Taylor, the 14-time world champion.
Who's in charge, me or the devil?
And Carl Donnelly is... you're doing September as well, aren't you?
Yeah, most important, me and Phil.
So we've got a darts player and a Gaelic footballer. It's going to be... That's more of a sportsman's dinner.
I meant to ask,
September.
because you didn't say this.
And November the 26th is Carl Donnelly.
When we booked it, Catholic or Protestant church?
It's St. Mary's. Oh, it can be both, can't it? Oh, Do you need to find out?
Mm-hmm.
Do you really need?
No,
you need to know. That would be amazing. I've got an amazing skill.
Sizzle.
Whatever church it is, I can decide if it's Catholic or Protestant. So that's starting on June the 11th. I would love it if you came and had a look. I don't know how it's going to sell, but as ever with all of these things, the first people to hear about it are going to be the patrons who are watching this episode on Saturday on the early release, and then we'll see how the tickets are going. I will also post about it on Patreon and see how the tickets are going. It's going to be called the Comedians Club Chester. I'm hoping it's going to become known as the Triple C. Have a fucking look. Very excited about that. It's going to be great. Also, it's next to my favourite pub in Chester.
Oh, sick.
So we're gonna do a show and then go, and it's just an excuse to booze with my mates. As I'm explaining, like, it's a place where comedy fans get to go. I also want to have a pint in the Eagle with all of my mates.
Are you doing it or like,
I'm comparing everyone.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty much done with comparing, apart from these nights that I'm putting on, like the new material night in Liverpool, which is a regular. Manchester, we've done one. I'm not sure when the next one is. I'll announce those as they go. But the Saturday, hopefully the monthly Saturday, is going to be like my regular comparing gig.
Lovely.
So have a fucking look at that.
I can tell it's going to be well set up because it's so funny when I came up and did that Liverpool gig and you gave me a lift and it's just in your fucking car. Dan's so jaded by the circuit and shit promoters. He's got a full fucking rig for a comedy club in the back of his boot.
Even though, they don't need it.
Oh, he's got a stool, a mic stand, lights, a mic. He's just got everything. He's like, trust no one.
I've been let down by so many numpties who are like, you feel like good. Are you making your living off this? Putting gigs on? Really? Why are the lights facing the audience? Why is that dude's chair facing the front row? I've done so many gigs where there's a guy sat next to me facing the front row. You're like, what the fuck is he doing here? Like he's sat there, like he's, you know, late night TV when the interpreter gets up for the fucking deaf. Like it's literally like there's a guy sat next to you who's about to go, okay, sorry. Fucking idiots. So I like to just organise it properly. You're going to do a tour preview at Phase 1 and you're doing it in Manchester as well,
yes,
aren't you?
Liverpool,
Edinburgh
Manchester,
preview.
and this is the announcement.
Yeah.
This is a preview of my Edinburgh show, an hour long. The show's getting fucking great and I'm doing it a bunch of times before these as well. 26th of June in Manchester at Gulliver's. 27th of June at Phase 1 in Liverpool. Use the code word WORD. You get a discount on tickets.
God.
And you
Really?
guys are if you're a patron of this, you're the first person to fucking hear about it, and it goes on sale when this episode goes out.
He's one of ours, isn't he?
And with the Comedians Club, there is no discount. You're the only fuckers that are going to be able to buy tickets. I'm genuinely probably not going to tweet about it.
But also the Manchester venue is fucking tiny. I think it seats 35 people. So like get the tickets. So, like it'll just sell out. So
go and see Vittorio. He's one of our own. And I watched him work last week. Fucking brilliant. I'll say this. This is the biggest testament I can say to your comedy. I didn't regret booking you for tour support. There you go. One of the best wooden comedian Gaelic footballers ever. And I think Phil the Power Taylor, is going to really appreciate having on that bill.
Pinocchio, they call me.
Go on.
Wooden.
That's good. I thought you were gonna do Catholic or Protestant on Pinocchio.
Catholic is Italian.
Oh yeah, of course, Pinocchio. All right, let's do all Disney characters. The Little Mermaid.
Little Mermaid. Ginger, Catholic. See you later.
All right, okay. Moana.
Ooh. What are those like? Because they're like Samoan, like
they're like Pacific Islanders.
They probably have their own shit going on, but I would.
We've actually found something that he's struggling to make sectarian. Fucking Moana.
Protestants don't like tattoos.
So Moana's Catholic. Yeah.
I don't even think that's a thing. I just made it up.
We're not questioning you. No,
we all bought it.
Jewish
That's a
people
well-known
can't be
fact.
married.
Well-known fact. They keep finding fucking bombs at like tattoo artists. We've got a question. Ian Metcalf says, Lids, read an article yesterday about an old couple from Hull who asked for a refund for a comedy club in Blackpool as they didn't feel safe travelling due to the war in Ukraine. Question mark. My question for you is, what's the biggest bullshit lie you've ever told and heard? just before we do your question, Ian, it was phenomenal. It was the Comedy Station in Blackpool, which is run by a pal of ours called Ryan Gleeson, who's done a fucking great job dragging up the alternative comedy scene in Blackpool from nearly nothing, because Blackpool's still got like 2 feet in the old mainstream. And there's loads of people in Blackpool and the surrounding areas that want proper stand-up.
Yeah.
And without Ryan, I just don't think that would be happening circuit-wise. But he's he puts every ounce of his heart and soul, and his wife as well, into that comedy club. But watching him deal with complaints and fuckwits, he does it very visibly because he's a comedian, and he cunts people off in some of the best ways possible. Like, and he screenshots everything and he shows the response, and he doesn't hold back. Like, he knows exactly what his remit is as the manager and owner of an alternative comedy club in Blackpool. It's to weed out the fuck knuckles.
Yes.
And he does it so well.
Jesus
But
Christ.
they were like, we can't drive on the M62 from Hull with Putin. Like, what the fuck do you think? You think like Russia aren't invading Ghoul? Like, chill the fuck out.
Who's on the list, Vladimir? The Klitschko's, Andrei Shevchenko, M62.
Yeah.
It's good
Very good, very good. Where shall we hit? The supply line for the Ukrainian army? No, I think we Leeds East Services. This is Dan Nightingale, that fucking prick, keeps going on about it. Has a KFC and a Nando's. We'll take out many cunts. Oh my God, I hope they don't attack Leeds. Is it Skelhorn? Fucking love that service.
That was beautiful.
Oh my God.
What the fuck just happened?
I know. All
Did
joking.
you all just come over a fucking service station?
You've not seen it. It's worth it.
Is it Skelhorn Lake?
Yeah, I think so.
I'd like to do a live show at that services. It'd be fucking brilliant.
Doable.
In the food court. Question for you is, what's the biggest bullshit lie you've ever told and heard? I mean, I think excuses. I think rather than doing lies, I think we should do excuses, because they're trying to use the war in Ukraine as an excuse to get a refund. Fuck knows why. I saw a kid late for a class. He was so late that we were in the first hour of lessons, and he came in the class. It was religious studies, and it was Mr. Whitmore. Boggy Whitmore was teaching us. He's the most boring cunt ever. But all the teachers had forms that they did the register for, sort of like 8:45 till 9. So he was so late that he'd missed that completely and was walking in after the start of our lesson, but realised he had to go and see his form teacher to be like, I'm here. And he walked in looking dishevelled. And Mr. Whitmore, to be fair, didn't bollock him. He was like what? It's like, Jenkins, how are you this late? And the kid was like, I was cycling against the breeze. And just the way he delivered it, he kind of got away with it. But I think Mr. Whitmore kind of went, fair fucks, that's such a bold lie.
Sorry, the headwinds. They were untenable.
Yeah. Storm Dudley just hit on his bike ride to fucking school. The rest of the school got in intact, but he was like, mate, that headwind, absolute nightmare.
He better look like fucking E.T.
Got away with it, though. I think Mr. Whitmore was like, cool, no worries about it. At least you fucking thought of something.
I had a good one for being late once. It was a physics teacher. I arrived like 20 minutes late for the lesson, whatever, and I just
get that.
Sorry.
There you go.
Yes, physics teacher was taking the register in the morning, and I go in, and I'm late, and he's like, "Why are you late?" And I was like, "Well, the thing is, sir, I'm not really here at all."
Is it philosophy?
Oh, you went metaphysical with it. Really fuck with it.
I was like, "You're a man of science." I was like, "Okay, you're a man of science. Tell me, of all the possible places I could be in the world, and even in this room, even between here and here, there's an infinite number of places I could be, right? So the probability of me being right here, right now, is 1 divided by infinity. And if you know, man of science, that's 0.
Aye.
None of us are anywhere, sir.
You must have been a fucking nightmare to teach. You cocky, clever little cunt. Fuck off, Angelone. Did he buy it?
He was just like, sit down.
Sit down. Didn't you do, weren't you, like, music was your thing, wasn't it? Like,
Yeah.
you were like, at school, you were
Music nonce.
Yeah.
But I did play sport. I was captain of the Gaelic football team, captain of the rugby team, but also was in all the
You must
orchestras
have
and all
got
that
laid
shit.
when you were young, Angelone.
I was with
Come
one
on.
girl from when I was 16 till I was 20.
Oh, what a
I lost
fucking
it
waste.
the day before my 16th birthday.
You're a good-looking lad who can play football and music. Come on.
I have severe anxiety disorder.
Right. I want to get my tits out. Oh, God, he's gone to sleep.
The first time I stayed around at a girl's house and her parents didn't know, and they came home, I had a panic attack. And she was like, just climb out the window. I was like,
I'm too sleepy. Climb out the window. And the parents are like, Catholic or Protestant? Right, okay, yeah.
But the best, because I do some teaching now.
Yeah. You teach music now?
Yeah.
Just music?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So I teach African drums.
Wow. Wow. What a classic story.
Is that on the curriculum?
I teach African drums in primary schools in East London.
How does he play African drums?
Really fucking well, mate.
Are they Catholic or Protestant? The drums. Love a
My
march.
hands, yeah.
Right.
But it's weird because it's East London, so like so many of the kids are African. And if that's not cultural appropriation, I don't know what is.
Right.
I'm just like, Dikembe, you're doing it wrong.
You know, there's a deputy head who's like, I would love to find an East African drums teacher, but this cunt from Belfast is the closest we've got to an ethnic minority.
But what I went in and asked, we were working on this song, and I said to these girls, and there's a lot of like Muslim kids in the classes, and I said to these girls, and they're in hijabs and all, and I said, have you practiced like between last week and this week? Have you practiced the stuff we've been working on? And they were like, no. And I was like, why not? And they went, it's illegal.
In what?
Their religion.
Oh, those clever little bastards. Oh, that's literally you. 10, 15 years later, you've just come across the same cocky cunt who's got you on a technicality. Just a young girl in a hijab going, he hasn't got a fucking chance here. I'd love to play drums, but is it culturally appropriate? Because of Islam? Oh, that's right. You're white and scared? Fuck you. Oh, clever little bastards. Yeah. Should we do some Would You Rathers? This is the house that we built this fucker on. Adele Phillips says, would you rather have to speak in... Oh, it links in beautifully, Adele. Would you rather have to speak in rhyme for the rest of your life or have to speak in riddles for the rest of your life? So, you're cursed by the all-powerful have a word which. You've got to go rhyme or riddles.
Is it natural or have you got to think about it? Is it just when you speak it naturally comes out in riddles or...
I'm starting to realise that if you don't pick rhyme, you are the worst cunt of all time.
Oh.
Are riddles Protestant or Catholic?
This is going to be the whole episode. Look at my dick. Look at my dick. What is it? Fucking sore.
I would say Catholic because the Riddler wears green. Go on.
I can't. You can't do the riddles. No. Having suffered through that episode where we did the riddles, and I genuinely felt less intelligent by the end of it.
I think that's what happened with Dr. Seuss.
Right.
Someone was like, you got to pick. He's like, I'm rhyming.
Yeah. I mean, but he did write children's books, so it was like... I'd go rhyme, I think.
It's got to be.
Because there's some of these cunts...
Do you reckon you can make your set work?
Yeah, I'd probably do corporate work. Look,
Paul Sinner's whole show now is in couplets.
What?
His whole show rhymes.
What?
No.
Like most of it, anyway.
No.
And he doesn't give a... He says at the start, he was like, I like stuff that rhymes. And he's like dealt with all this shit with like, he's got Parkinson's and all this stuff. And he's like, I don't give a fuck. It's going to rhyme. Right. It's a great show because the whole thing is like, fuck you, it's rhyming.
So just because he's got Parkinson's, he's like, I'm a poet. So that's how that's going. Because you can't hate a poet who's got Parkinson's.
Yeah, he does what he wants.
So who are the comedians who do sort of white boy hip hop comedy? Like Chris Turner,
a Bandaman,
MC Hammersmith.
Seen a Bandaman?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah. Some of those.
I mean, they're basically just very good at rhyming.
Yeah,
that's all it is. It's poetry wearing a hoodie.
Yeah,
and they've made a lot of money because over here we have not got bored of the. You're not meant to rap. Like Chris Turner looks like he's come to fix your fucking computer. And then he's actually annoyingly quite good.
Yeah.
He makes a lot of money. Go and check Chris Turner out on YouTube. The fucker the amount of views he's got, and he does corporate work.
Yeah.
Because it's weirdly crowd pleasing.
Yeah, it's high energy and it gets
Chris Turner. I'm not having a go at Chris Turner, but he's become very successful, and he's always been really sound to me and very nice. But before he started doing the white boy hip hop stuff, that just completely. So I think he wrote it as a bit. He was like, "Oh, I'm quite quick on my feet in terms of just being able to rhyme." So it started as a bit that then became half of his set, and then the others. Like, the set was so poor compared to him, like, going, I'll freestyle a whole rap, just give me 10 words.
Yeah.
And he's so smart. I think he went to Cambridge or Oxford, and he's just really quick and also looks dead geeky. And it works. MC Hammersmith has got the same thing. But the very first time I gigged with him, I've never seen a more pretentious young comic in a dressing room. And I actually think it's damaged my perception of it. Even this 10, 15 years later. We were at a gig in Bishop Auckland for a brilliant promoter called Neil Jolly. And I was the headliner or compere. There's a couple of acts on. And I'm not saying you can't be yourself. There's just certain things that adult comedians are not going to warm to. And he was in the corner. I think he was probably 22, 23, not long out of university. And he had on a thumb ring, and he was drinking an umbongo and reading from a very small leather-bound book of French poetry. I genuinely, even though from then in, he was very nice to me and we got on quite well, it's really jarring still. I'm like, oh yeah, Chris Turner. Fucking pretentious. I've never felt more allergic to an aesthetic in a dressing room. I was like, what the fuck is this? So funny. Just fucking obnoxious. Who the fuck? How can you drink an umbongo pretentiously? I've never seen an umbongo drunk more obnoxiously. Right, so we'll go rhyme, Adele. We'll go rhyme.
Gotta be.
Yeah.
Dominic McKeown. Go on, you. It's one of yours.
Dominic McKeown.
McKeown. As a spin on the lottery fantasy, would you rather win 10 million on the lottery and have control over every penny, or win 50 million and have your partner have full control of the money?
The second one.
So 10 million.
I can't explain to you how fast I would spaff 10 million.
Right.
Give it to Izzy and let her fucking
You're
make sure I don't fucking die. Yeah. I would die.
10.
If you give me 10
what if she
mil, I'd
doesn't
be
spend
dead
any of
within
it
a
on
week.
you? Do you reckon she would?
No, she would, wouldn't she?
If she'd give me an allowance. I'm up for it.
Oh, how patronising would that?
Make me a cap man. I don't give a flying fuck.
How much if she's got 50 million and you're on an allowance, how much is reasonable on an allowance?
I don't know, but you can't trust me with 10 mil. I'll die.
I know, but you could kill yourself on 10 grand a month, surely.
For sure.
Right. Just literally giving you 180 quid a week. Just be careful. Okay.
Yeah.
Just be careful.
I'd have to do you know when you do expense reports for petty cash in a company? I would have to. They would all have to be traceable with receipts. It's like, what'd you spend this on? Fucking pints. Your allowance is cut for next week. Remember, it was a maximum of 12 Guinnesses a night.
This is the thing is, Dominic, you misunderstand how marriage works. If I win 10 million, I instantly lose 3 or 4, basically. That's how it works. I'm such a cunt that I would finagle me getting the lion's share of the money. If we win 50 million and it goes straight into Laura's account, I will definitely see 25 million of that. Because we've got a relatively healthy marriage. And yeah. But it's not like 10 million is 10 million can't just be mine.
No way.
That 10 million, yeah, the mistake is to be like, well, that 10 million is all yours. No, it's not though, is it? Because I live with my wife and she can't be like, oh, we really need new clothes for the kids as I'm sat on a pile of 10 million pounds going, well, I want it. And Dominic says it's all mine. Fuck you. And
because it's the difference between those two amounts of money is too much, because like, even if your girlfriend's going to be a dick or your partner's going to be a bit of a dick about it, like, even if they take 40 mil, you still get the exact same thing as the first one. Plus, you should probably buy some stuff for the house. You know what I mean? Like, you'll get some of that other stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It all has a better knock-on effect. So it's so much more. And if honestly, if Laura having 50 million and going, right, this is how, if she sat me down and went, this is how this is going to work, cunt. I, like you, I've been putting up with you though, and you've started to really be on my tits recently. If I have to hear the phrase podcast one more time. She was like, I'm keeping 35 million, 40 million, and I'm fucking off. Here's your 10, leave me be. Like, if that's what she wanted to do all along, I want her to do that. Like, I don't want to be with someone who doesn't want to be. Take your 40 million, and then I've got 10 million, and I'm free. I'm free.
Yeah, but what if she pays for someone just to, like, put you in a box, and there's a chance that she'll just get rid of you?
What? A box? As in kill you, or a box?
No, like, she'll just, like, put you in a house somewhere, and you're locked in the house, and she's like, oh, I've got 49.5 million now because I've paid someone $500,000 to get rid of you.
I love Scousers, how they think, like, yeah, that's so much money. Instant Illuminati, right?
Trust
and the
no
Illuminati can put you in a 3-bedroom semi in fucking Widnes under lock and key. That's how
There's
millions
a chance.
of pounds.
There's a chance.
Yeah, but she's not fucking evil. Also, just because Laura wins 50 million, she doesn't get a knock from, like, her local Illuminati representatives.
She
like it's Virgin Media knocking on going, hello, we're here from your local Illuminati.com. And yeah, like, I'm fine. Like, she's not. I love it how she's so suspicious. Could fucking fuck you over, lad.
But sorry, how long have you been with your partner?
4 years.
Do you reckon there's a chance she might want to hide you forever?
Hide me forever?
And run off with £49 million?
No, there's literally no.
Oh?
No. But the mad thing is, even if she got 50 million, and I've been having this conversation with her recently, she still wouldn't let us hire a cleaner for the house.
What?
I'm
the
not
fuck
allowed.
did you just say?
So she's like, oh, just clean up. And I'm like, can I just pay someone to do it? And she's like, no. It's like the acts of servitude, you know, like how people receive love and affection and all that. So
that's what she wants to do.
Not allowed to hire someone.
Victoria,
I work for the money that I would pay this
genuinely,
person.
I'm not sure this relationship's got legs. And I've spoken to your girlfriend. She seems absolutely lovely.
The red
if I want
still
50,
there.
if I want it, there's so many fucking red flags flying. Red flags flying. I'm telling you right now, if there was £50 million on our house, my problem would be I'd have to walk over all of the help to get to another room. I would be clambering over nannies and cleaners and gardeners. I'd be like, so sorry, guys. I would it'd be amazing. It'd be like a fucking music festival when someone crowd surfs. That would be me trying to get from one room to the other because I would employ so much help because I don't want to do any of these jobs. With 50 million, if she cock blocks you from getting a cleaner, what the fuck are you doing with the 50 million? What's the point?
Well, there's other stuff you can get that isn't a cleaner.
What? A robot? A robot?
But I'm now thinking, do I get a secret cleaner?
Ooh. Oh. How often is she out?
A lot. She walks dogs during the day. She's an actor, but she walks dogs as like a side hustle.
For money. Yeah, that's such a horrific testament to the state of being an actor, isn't it? Yeah. She's an actor. She's doing pretty well. She does walk a lot of dogs though. Yeah. So you've got windows to get the cleaners in.
I didn't know where that's.
No. I mean, you've got figurative windows of time.
Yeah, but I don't know if I
like the cleaner.
Like
listen, it's £12 an hour, but you do have to come up the fucking fire exit. Yeah, you could do that. Get it sneaky, get it.
I don't know if I could spoof for that. She'd be like, this is great, thank you so much. This is the cleanest it's ever been. I'll go, yeah.
Well, you can't lie like that.
No.
Are you a good liar or not?
No, I'm bad. Bad.
Grow the fuck up, Vittorio. Hire a secret.
Grow up and lie to your girlfriend.
Oh my God, that's not even real lying. That's just making things work. What kind of fucking amateur are you? Employ a Ukrainian refugee.
Well, I used to be oncologist, and now I clean fucking Catholic's house. Protestant or Catholic, I don't know. I just want to come through door, not window.
Oh, come on. You'll be fine. I want next time we see each other, next time you're on the pod, I want to hear that you've
got a secret cleaner.
Oh yeah, but we're doing this on a public episode. Oh, it's all banter.
Yeah.
There's no way I would ever.
Hi,
get a secret
Izzy.
cleaner.
Love you. Hope things are going well. Enjoy walking your dogs. Jokey.
Yeah.
Do you think she'll just do audio? She'll just do audio. She's not going to watch it on YouTube.
Unless I set her down and go, watch this, she won't watch it.
Right.
I don't think.
But she's a chance she knows you're on today.
Yes.
She's walking dogs and she goes, I'll download it. No one watches it on YouTube and walks dogs. She's listening. So I have a great. Yeah, we're only joking. Shall we do some Vittorio? I'm here to help.
I can never normally hear this. It's great.
I'll solve your problems. I'll tell you the best thing to do. If you want to do it, you'll be fine. It's going to be weird, this, because I don't know if you're in a position to give advice. You can't even lie about secret cleaners.
I'm good at advice.
That's not the point of the section, though.
Greg Hutton says, Wag Lids, I really need your opinion on this. I was at a concert on Saturday where I got chatting to this girl and we hit it off. She started it. She started it. We hit it off. She started it. But turns out she had a boyfriend. As he came back from the toilet 2 minutes later, the weird thing is, the rest of the concert, she was dancing all up on me and grabbed my hand and put it on her ass and putting her hand up my shirt and things like that. This all took place while her boyfriend was about 30 centimeters in front. Oh,
bitch.
Before I felt so bad, I stopped it. She's now living in my head, rent-free. I want to message her, but don't want to ruin a relationship or look like a creep. What should I do? That's from Gregory Hutton, who probably didn't want his full name read out. But if you don't write anonymous, you get called Greg Hutton. What should he do?
Their relationship's already ruined.
Whose?
The girls. That's not a good relationship.
It's also not your problem, Greg.
Yeah.
Oh, she's fucking dirty. Just gone do something dirty.
Yeah.
She
Had a great time the other night. Do you want me to fuck you in front of your boyfriend?
Do you know what I mean? What if that's his thing? He wants.
Message the guy.
Good afternoon to you, sir. Good afternoon to you, sir.
I have a suspicion.
On the evening of the live performance, maybe that's the thing. He wants to see he wants to have his missus fingered and banged, but just 30 centimeters behind. That's why they've got the sex ruler. There you go. You're behind me. 30 centimeters. Is that 30 centimeters? Go for it.
That old Patrice
squelching.
You want your partner to be desirable to other people, and you almost have to prove that to them every so often. Well, what Patrice says is like, I need to still be able to catch fish, as the metaphor is. He goes, so you can act right.
Right. Okay. So you've got to be fuckable to keep everything at home. Sort of.
I think the bit is, I don't want a girl who I can send out to the shop at 3 a.m. and be like, take the alleyway, it'll be quicker.
Jesus. Jesus Christ. Patrice and some of your social politics. I think both have died. Right, I know what you mean. Yeah. Laura got her arse felt at a kids' disco in Edinburgh once.
And I've apologised.
What were you even doing there, Vittorio? At the Edinburgh Festival, it really is frowned upon. It's nearly frowned upon as much as me parking outside nurseries in Runcorn. 25-year-old comedians turning up like, it's just another show. I've got to pass. So we were at a kids' disco. So at the Fringe, one of the great things, if you've got your kids up there with you, which we did in 2018, Etta was about a year and a half old. She fucking loved that Fringe. Laura, not quite as much. We went to a couple of kids' discos, like Sunday afternoon. The venues, the Spiegel tent did them. We went to a couple there. That was one of the best moments ever. I taught Etta to go like this, to do the whole I'm watching you thing. So I taught my 1.5-year-old, cute as a button, not talking very well, to go. Just like pointing at her both, if you're listening on audio, pointing at both her eyes and then pointing at someone and going, I'm watching you, and mouthing, I'm watching you. And she did it to a dad who was just sat down at one of these kids' discos. But she did it. It was quite busy. She was sort of not stood in front of me. She was off to the side. I could see them, and I could see she was like doing a little dance. She's only a year and a half. She's just a toddler. And I saw her out of nowhere clock him and then go, I'm watching you. The look of total fear that washed over this guy, because he went, what? And then you could see her like looking for the grown-ups that were with this fucking accusational kid, like,
Can you imagine if he just confessed to something?
All right, I did it. So we went to another one, and it was busy. It was a different venue, and Etta was toddling around, and Laura's just sort of like trying to get at her level, and was sort of bent over, and some pervy dad just gave her ass a squeeze. And she came back and went, just like just a startled look on her face, and went, I just had my arse squeezed by someone. And your natural instinct is to be like, what cunt did this? And then I remembered that I can't fight. And we didn't know who it was. And like, what are you going to do?
Did you like it on any level?
What are you going to do? No, because it's at a kid's disco. Like, it was the least appropriate. My wife has got a phenomenal arse. It doesn't mean that people are allowed to squeeze it. And because Laura wasn't like upset and kicking off, because in reality, she didn't know who it was. Mm-hmm. She turned around and then there's just loads of people. And yeah, like, I'm so glad that I'm not one of these psychos that at a kid's disco is like, turn off the music! Turn off Twinkle Twinkle Little Star! Some cunt in here squeezed her ass! Going all fucking Begbie from Trainspotting. But I suppose if Laura
want a sippy cup over your
yeah, literally fruit shoot over.
What if it was just a wee boy?
What if it was just a bit of an ass man?
Just a wee toddler.
Just a 4-year-old.
Like, outside, no.
I'm watching you.
Fucking Dan goes full.
Fucking
get off.
A little bit less. You grow up a little bit after. So if Laura had been upset, I suppose what you meant to do is just go to the organiser and be like, there is some pervy fucker squeezing women's arses. Or
Not the worst kind of perv at a kid's disco.
No.
If you had the choice.
Who squeezes random women's arses
anymore? It's such a sad place to do it.
Not that it's ever been all right, but I think old school, like, I think that level of assault,
yeah,
was like, hey, come on, hey.
Yeah.
But
in your gypsy tradition, you've got that grabbing thing.
Right.
Have you seen the grabbing?
In mine?
In mine. Proud tradition.
Wow. I've done that impression a bit too much. Vittorio's like, your people.
Have you seen the grabbing in Big Fat Gypsy Wedding?
I have.
They just grab women and put them in a corner. And
Big Fat Gypsy, yeah. They do, don't they? Yeah. They're like, yeah.
And they're like, it's just grabbing.
You're 15 and you're not fast at running, so now you're my girlfriend.
But when the girls are like, yeah, you just go out to get grabbed and it's grand, sure.
Yeah, I know, but they are culturally fucked over by, yeah, okay, like, they're like, oh yeah, it's fine.
Well, they put on a dress.
They said it's fine. They said it's fine.
A dress with more lights than the fucking Christmas tree in Trafalgar Square. It's this fucking great massive thing.
God. Oh my God. And that's how he found love in a car park. Yeah, it was pretty brutal.
So but
I mean, if that girl there, she wants to be touched up by random, she is either, I mean, I feel like I'm channeling my inner Adam Rowe here, but I think maybe this thing.
She's a bitch.
It's on?
Is that what you're doing?
No, I think the boyfriend must know and want it.
Oh, you think it's all planned?
I think this is it, yeah.
And because what wasn't specified in the message was he like looking while this was happening?
It's in front, isn't it? If it's in front, that implies that he's not looking.
But he could just be loving the show. He's there fanboying towards the stage, and while he's going, oh, fucking love it.
He's like, oh my God, I'm so glad I went to see Top Loader again. Dancing in the moonlight.
Apparently they play that like 6 times at their gigs.
Of course they do.
They go, we're going to do some new stuff. Only joking, we're doing Dancing in the Moonlight again. They actually do that at the gigs. It's so fucking funny.
How many times at one gig that even the fans of Top Loader go, right, it's enough Dancing in the Moonlight. Even like the Bangra version, the ding 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 Dancing in the Moonlight.
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, Top Loader do a Bangra version of Dancing in the Moonlight.
God, they must have got so bored of that fucking tune. Do you reckon they just swap instruments
Shout out
sometimes?
anyone.
It's not even their tune, you know. It's cover that. And they've made their whole career on a cover.
Yeah, but wait till the Bangra version drops. At a live show, I'm going to try and get Eshaan to do a Bangra version of Dancing in the Moonlight. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to try and make that work. I'll be honest, mate, if you want to get your dick wet, she sounds like this is an option. But I'm telling you, the red flags have been thrown already. This one's a fucking problem. Like, as a guy, you get fork in the road moments where you're like, she seems like she wants to fuck. That's fine if you want to do that. But if you go down that road, potentially, you're going to fall for this girl who is clearly not going to be good for you. So if you just want to have a bit of fun and fuck around, her boyfriend is not your responsibility. But I would make some better choices if I were you. Don't follow your dick down this weird road.
How does he have the option to message her? As in,
they must have exchanged,
spoken.
They must,
and exchanged Instagrams or whatever, names, something. So shit, like the only reason you're exchanging that in that scenario is you want to be, I think, drop her a message. Go, listen, enough of that, bozo.
Do you not feel like it's bad karma though, a little bit, to be like, I know you can do it if you want, but
no, I was raised by strong Irish women whose response to this is always, that's not your fucking problem.
Vittorio, you talk a good game. You can't even lie about getting secret cleaners. And now you're here going, just go and fuck her. Fuck her in front of him.
No, I would never cheat.
just for the audio. Just for the audio. For all dog walking girlfriends.
I hope the dogs are behaving themselves. And I would never cheat. Please don't leave me with the 50 million.
Yeah. However, Greg should go and fuck old nasty girl from Top Loader.
That relationship sunk or weird. And either way, mad girls are great.
Ah, they are. They are pretty good. They are pretty good. Just don't fucking marry them. Okay, boys. It's time for a well-earned Nando's, and we've got the legend that is Phil Nichol after the break. All right, lads. Bye. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp.
BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. You get matched in under 48 hours. It's not a crisis line. This is a way for you to get professional therapy done securely online. There's a broad range of expertise available, which may not be like locally available for you to go and see in your area. So say you're going through some like childhood trauma or whatever, and you're trying to deal with that. There might be not like a childhood trauma person near where you live. You can get it online with these. You can log into your account anytime and send a message to your therapist at any time. You get timely, thoughtful responses, plus you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions. You won't ever have to sit in an uncomfortable waiting room. Now, here's the thing. I've been trying to get into a bit of therapy at the minute. I've got some stuff I need to unpack. And the idea of sitting in that waiting room and looking at all the other people and trying to figure out what they're up to and them figuring out what I'm up to, that's the bit that's knocking me sick. So BetterHelp wants you to start living a happier life today. This is the new way to get therapy done, and I'm going to be using it myself.
I'm actually getting therapy at the moment. It's genuinely helpful. I don't think there is any stigma about it anymore. And it's not just because of trauma or whatever. A lot of it's just life coaching. It can help you see how you're going forward. Honestly, I'm getting a lot from it, and BetterHelp can provide it without you having to go and see a therapist.
It's also more affordable than like traditional online therapy. It's a lot more affordable, and even if you're struggling properly and can't even afford the extra affordable therapy, there's like financial aid and stuff available. It's genuinely a really great system. Now, obviously, there'll be some people who want to just go and see someone in person, but if you feel like you would benefit from online therapy, there is not a better place in the world for you to go than to BetterHelp.
We have a special offer for Have a Word listeners. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/word10. That's betterhelp.com/word10. Go ahead. Hi, welcome back. Welcome back to the Serious Discussion Podcast. Have a word. A lot of people are talking about Ukraine, but what about Syria, guys? It's still an issue. Phil Nichol, your thoughts?
Well, I've been to Syria. I summer there.
You've gigged there.
I summer there. Yeah. I mean, I take gigs if they're available, but overall, I just like the people, the food.
Can you double in Syria?
Yeah, I double it with Lebanon.
So good.
Until that last one off, that was great.
Phil Nichols here, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm here.
Yeah. International.
Bringing some arts to your Have a Word, podcast, to your Have a Nightingale podcast.
Absolutely. This is what we're all about. It's what they want, you know. They're 170 episodes in, but really they were like, let's talk more culture.
Yeah, but you could do something about musicals. I do a lot of, I know, everything.
And move. Yeah. We've never done a warm up live on podcast.
Yeah, maybe get you guys over here and just do some
breeze.
Do some breeze. Do some vocalies. I think they're called vocalies.
You're so tense.
Yeah, you poo poo, you poo poo, you poo, you poo, you poo poo.
That's more half a word speed.
Wait, there's
vocalies.
There's something. So I know you've done a little bit of the old. You've many talents.
Triple threat.
You're a triple threat.
I'm a quadruple threat.
Someone who can absolutely roof the shit out of a circuit gig, then go to the festival and do one-man shows. You act, you do all sorts. But
yes, I act.
There's still a level of country.
I'm acting now, Dan.
No, you're not.
Yeah, I am.
You're acting up. I said it. That's a punchline. Fuck you. But there is still a level of like country in and around a vocal warm-up that I cannot get used to.
You know,
you have to be so unself-aware to be like, I don't care if we're in a green room.
Can you imagine doing that in like a green room, like some comedy clubs don't even have green rooms. You'd be like in the men's toilet at in Didsbury Cricket Club, like
I saw somebody do it just at the back of the room.
Who?
Like there's an audience in the room and he's in the back going and he's fucking shadow boxing and all.
Oh, the shadow
boxing.
They
the fucking
pumped up.
worst. What do you think you're about to do?
Yeah.
That's the least cool thing I've ever heard. Was it Stuart Lee?
Anybody drinking? Fucking right.
My dick. My wife.
Turns out it was just a comedian with Tourette's, and you were donkey.
Fucking Shrek with Tourette's. Donkey.
You've done some fucking mad gigs though, Phil. You've been your guitar you bought in 1987.
Yes.
You've been doing stand up on your own since, can I guess, 92, 93?
Nope.
No?
95.
All right, okay, cool.
But I was still in the Corky and the Juice Pigs at that point. So I was a comedy trio for anyone that doesn't know me. And then as that was petering out, we all started doing our own things.
And that was still in Canada.
That was still in Canada. But I actually I have done stand-up in Toronto, my hometown, once. And that was 2 years ago. I took my You're Wrong tour there. Back to the first time of doing stand-up in Canada after being in comedy for about 30 years.
Oh my God, you're both comedy refugees, aren't you? From your own hometown.
I know.
We were talking before about
he's not getting the love in Belfast because he left.
Weird. Well, no, I do, but I just find it tricky to gig in Belfast because you don't know what context you really exist in there.
Yeah, but also you're used to having that exotic. Like when you're over here, you're the Northern Irish guy. Over there, you're just
can't be the Northern Irish.
Exactly.
Right, you're not all so fancy anymore.
How was your first gig in Toronto? Did it feel?
Sorry, I don't want to pick on you. I hardly know you.
Do it.
We'll wait for a while. Do it. Just do it.
Do you want me to pick on you?
I do not.
I wasn't born when you started.
That's not.
Don't be that sperm.
But that doesn't actually work because what you're saying is that you're inexperienced. You're young. You should maybe take some advice from your elders.
Yeah.
I'm on the way up. You're on
more
the way down.
warm-ups.
On the way up.
You just sit in the corner and do warm-ups.
This is the peak. It's not going to get better than this.
What was the first gig back in Toronto like?
It was really
It's got to be fucking weird after 25, 30 years.
It was really weird. And I had, my brother Andrew has 4 nieces. I have 4 nieces. My brother has 4 daughters, which is a whole other story. 3 of them have had teen pregnancies, so they're all mothers of like one of them has 6 kids. It's just crazy. My family's crazy. I call them white trash, but I shouldn't. You're not allowed to say that anymore, but they are.
Oh, you know?
In fact, where I'm from, I grew up near a nuclear plant. So world's largest nuclear plant in Toronto.
Okay,
So people talk punching up, punching down. There's only way up.
But it's not affected the sperm round there apparently.
No. No effect on me whatsoever, Dan. I did the show. The show was called You're Wrong, and it was about sort of exploring. I was born into a born again Christian family, like a brother and family, really weird upbringing, strange upbringing, and it was about my brother having a car accident and being in a coma and miracles and all that kind of philosophical Edinburgh type comedy with good stand up routines in it, by the way.
Song.
But all those kids came and they knew their dad had survived this brain damage, but no one had ever spoken to them about it. So me telling the story was the first time that they'd heard that story and me talking about it. And they were going, oh my God, we didn't realize that it was that bad, that he, because it's just it's a mental story. It's too long to explain, but so it was really kind of emotional. And I was, as well as being in Toronto, and presenting, doing stand-up comedy, because I'm kind of quite well known over here for it. I mean, not but relatively well known, and no one knows me there. So it was like a bit of a shock to everybody.
Is that the same for a lot of the Canadian comics? Are they just like you, Campbell, Glenn Wall? When I got into comedy, you were some of the first. In fact, you got me my job as a sound man.
Yeah, that's right. Oh yeah.
Because I was the overkeen barman at the Hyena.
At the Hyena in
you
Newcastle,
turned up for the first ever weekend when they'd moved it upstairs into the big room.
That's right. And the sound desk was not in the same room as the comedy club.
Yeah, because Mohammed, the Egyptian owner of the club, who'd basically stolen it off Dave Johns, who's like, I just loved how he thought it was like, sound equipment, you can hear from a different room.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you have a sound booth here,
you just
this is where people could be sitting. So what we'll do is we moved him through the pot wash into another room, so you had to go through two doors.
I remember you used to set the sound levels and then have to walk out and go, oh, is that sound? And then go back.
They just started the
doors and the pot wash.
Yeah, you had to go through. And,
that was the worst.
And basically, I was dead keen. I decided I wanted to be a comedian. And so Phil was like the first headliner, I think. And you were on with Kerry Talmadge.
Oh, yeah.
Who was the other at that weekend. And I can't remember who. It might have been Jack Russell.
John Kelly, yeah.
Yeah. And I just basically...
Not a very diverse bill, I must say.
I know, it was disgusting. That's why it's closed down. They've never recovered. But basically you refused to go, and you were like, you haven't got a sound tech, we can't run a show.
Yeah.
And through just a total lack of a sound tech or anyone that gave a shit about it, I managed to just be... I'd ask you a few questions, and you were like, this kid, this Dan, right, you can be the sound tech. And you literally said to me, do you want to be the sound tech? And I was like, yeah. He was like, right, he's the sound tech. And you went, if he's not the sound tech running the show, we're not going to perform. Yeah. So you got me off the bar. I never served a pint in the Hyena because of you. And it was fucking legendary.
You got to run the sound. Did you get paid the same for it, though?
I got paid exactly. I got paid 60 quid maybe a week.
Wow.
It was so low.
Yeah.
But every time I went for drinks for the acts, because I looked after the acts, I just got one for myself. So I got paid about £1,800 a week in alcohol.
I
rinsed at the back, like, what the fuck?
I had no idea how to do it.
Sounds all right to me.
Not that difficult though. But I remember that, and I remember because even at that point you're acting like you were a kind of shy young kid, but you were still pretty obviously a talky.
I was dying to be involved.
A chatty guy. Yeah.
I think I'd already asked you questions.
You'd already spoken to me. Yeah, that's why you already had like a bit of a laugh.
But it was like you just going. If he's not running the show, we're not doing the show.
Yeah.
And they were like, this is fucking... Like, you could see Mohammed going, well, I'll fucking cancel the show. I can't cancel the show.
Yeah.
So they gave me the job by default. But all of the guys that I met in that run, and now the legendary, like Sean Collins, Campbell, you, Glenn Wall, had they all gigged there for years and then moved over, but you started over here?
Well, no, I came to...
You just came to... Like, how have you got so much of a detached from... You did Corky and the Juice Pigs there?
No, we did it there for about 3 years, from 87. And then in 1990, we crashed the Melbourne Comedy Festival, like you would do. We just bought flights to go to Australia and went, we'll just show up. We crashed the Melbourne Comedy Festival. And then Karen Corrin, who runs the Gilded Balloon, thought she was looking for new acts to play in Edinburgh. And she thought we were Australian and invited us to come to Edinburgh. And that was 1990. So I'd already established myself at that. We'd established ourselves at that point. And then
if you haven't ever seen Phil's Corky and the Juice Pigs, just pause this now and go and watch.
Yeah.
Just it's so amazing.
It's
like
mental.
Adam and I have referenced like The Only Gay Eskimo and like just go and have a little watch just so you know where Phil came from in comedy. It's just the most like the fact that that's 30 years old is just amazing because it's still so fucking funny.
Oh, thanks, man. I worry actually because I've been looking at trying to put out old material. I'm working on putting out a box set of stuff of shows I've done, and you look back and think some of the stuff is really I don't believe in the cancel culture, but I do think people are a lot more sensitive towards certain things. I mean, we do songs about burn victims and the KKK and things that were like really like. Do you want to hear it? No, no. But I mean, they were all. I think the differences in that era, comedy, punk music was still kind of around, and comedians were seen as outlaws and punks, like Sam Kinison and
truly alternative,
and Hicks, like truly alternative. And so, and the idea was you're shocking people. Well, actually, it's not far off a Scouse or a Glaswegian sense of humor, but gallows humor and shock humor is actually and Northern Irish. You're laughing because you know it's not that it's not funny. That's why it's funny because you're not supposed to be laughing about this. That's why it's funny, and you kind of bring everyone. No, I mean that's
true.
That is true, and I mean I've watched enough of your podcasts to know that that's still alive and happening here. But out there, it's becoming a very different world, especially in the arts area of comedy, where that's people just shut you down for certain
really
things.
Corporate almost like that. All the TV stuff and in the fringe stuff, it's become so like corporation based.
Oh, we're the mainstream now. We're not like we're talking like 30 years ago. You're coming out of an era, especially I'm speaking about the UK. You're coming out of the 70s and 80s where the mainstream was the old style of comedy, and it was a fight against that, wasn't it? It was a reaction to that.
Yeah.
And if you're in an alternative comedy club in the late 80s, early 90s, you're at the true meaning of the word fringe of sort of the arts.
Yeah.
That's not the case anymore. We're the mainstream, and so all of the eyes are on you. You're not rebels. You're not punks.
Well, this is kind of
you're the money, and now you get people going, "Oh, you can't say that, and you can't say this." There's no like people taking it so seriously.
Well, I guess there's just more. I guess what's happened is I haven't really thought this through, so it might come all wrong. But there's more of an audience for it because it's become more. It's been sold as a mainstream thing from like the Road Show and the Apollo. So there's more people, but those people don't have the same. The people that used to go and see comedy, like at the Tunnel Club in Greenwich, to go and see Malcolm Hardy and Simon Munnery and Joe Brand when they were young and they were ruthless. And if you watch the documentary online about it, the audience are ruthless, like heckling, booing people off, throwing stuff, like just. You had to be hard and you had to be fast and funny, and that doesn't. Now it's more. We have to go. The people sit down and want to like listen. Let's listen to what Dan. Tell me something, Dan. Make me think, Dan. But I'm not saying that those
people could be waiting a long fucking time if that's what you're turning up to.
That's
make me think, Dan. Like, all right, it's going to be a long one. We have licensing laws.
Yeah. But I was going back to answer the question. We came over to. I came over when I started. Juice Pigs sort of broke apart. I was friends with Craig Campbell. Had opened for us like when he was like 17 in like North Vancouver, and I don't really even remember his set. But that's how long those guys have been in the business. Mike Wilmot toured with the Juice Pigs and was on tour with us. Is still one of my closest
These are
friends.
Legendary names in like Canadian and UK comedy.
They are, and also I think Canadians, because when you go and do these shows, you drive 5 hours to do a show, and there's only two of you, so you've got to cover the whole time. So Canadian comedians are used to doing 45, like from right away, 45 minutes to an hour, and not like. No fucking about. There's not like 20-minute sets and I got to catch my train. It's like you're there and you're going to sit and drink with those guys and you're going to drive home drunk or crash in someone's van and then so
you're going to drive home drunk and crash someone's van. Yeah.
Like but you had to.
It's a very different circuit, isn't it?
I remember borrowing a car. We were in Saskatoon, which is the home of the RCMP, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. We had to drive like 6 hours north to do one gig, and we did the gig, and but we didn't have a car, so we borrowed the woman who was the manager of the club. We borrowed her car, and we got all the way up to the gig, did the gig, and it's a long slog, man. And then you do like a 2-hour gig because there was only 3 of us. Did the gig, and then got back in the car, and as we were Joe loved smoking pot while he drove, so he's smoking pot, he's driving, and these are like Alberta roads. Actually, it was Saskatoon. these are straight roads mainly. So you've got to be aware what's going on. But also you can just put the pedal down and just like people floor it. So we got pulled over by the police, and as the police pulled us over, Joe went, "I don't have a license." And we were like, "What?" He goes, "What? You've left it in the hotel?" He went, "No, I don't have a license. Like I should be driving." We're like, "What are we gonna say to the cop when he like what?" And we're all like high and like I'm in the back going, "What the fuck are you thinking? You fucking maniac!"
Luckily, you've got we're going to a gig. So the police.
We were heading back from the gig. That's what we told them. Joe was very smooth though. Joe was like a sort of handsome Portuguese guy, and somehow could pull it together. And just said to the cop, "What are you doing?" He went, "Oh, we've just been doing a gig, and I forget what, middle of nowhere, but fuck, Alberta is the joke, isn't it?" So, and the cop went, "All right, how'd the gig go?" Because this is Canada, right? How'd the gig go? Yeah, pretty good, thanks. Like got another like 4 hours to get back. We're going to Saskatoon. He's go, "All right, yeah, we're going on at Yuck Yucks," and Yuck Yucks is like at one time the biggest comedy chain in the world, a Canadian comedy chain. A legendary comedy chain which started like Sam Kinison and Jim Carrey and all these guys, and the cop just was so enamored that we were young guys, right? That he just went, okay, didn't even ask to check for ID. He just went, brilliant. Okay, just slow down, guys, because there's like animals out here and stuff. We were like, this is pre 9/11 as well, remember? So things changed, I think, after 9/11. But we literally, cop drove away, honk, see ya, drove away in front of us, and we just went really slow, and we were like, how do we get away with that? And we pulled over, and it was a beautiful night. And in the middle of Canada, you can see the Milky Way because this closest city is Saskatoon. It's 4 hours away. So we all got on the front of the car and just like sat and smoked a big reefer and just looked at the stars and just went, we're charmed. This is amazing.
Why do all Canadian comedy stories sound so much more rock and roll than sharing a fucking car to do a gig in Wakefield? Oh, for fuck's sake.
You can't see the fucking
I can't change my heritage. But every time we have a Canadian comic on, like Glenn Wall's like, yeah, we're fucking we're like in some like oil rig town or something. Yeah. And all of a sudden, like,
the number of places you play like that. Like
you had to drive for 14 hours. Someone lost 3 toes.
Yeah, 14 hours.
And then on the way back, you have this amazing moment where you like fucking wrestle a bear.
Yeah, we're in a Lincoln Navigator, the Moose. We're Lincoln Navigator Moose spotting in the middle of blizzards, driving through because Canadians don't stop for anything. And we drive into the town. I forget what it's called. It's like I think it might be St. John, but anyway, we go to this place in the Rockies, and we get in the town and realize we're in the smallest truck. You know what a Lincoln Navigator is like? It's like what they drive in, in the Wire, big, massive, like we're in the smallest truck. Like our truck was tiny. We were like, it's like we were driving a Mini compared to like other people and we backed into our parking spot at the hotel, and this huge truck with like massive big wheels pulled up right beside us. You couldn't even see out of our window into the window of the truck beside us. And the door opens, a little chain ladder comes out, and then these little pink cowboy boots, and this little tiny, like 4 foot tall woman with a great big cowboy hat with a big curly perm. Hi, boys. driving her husband's truck around.
That's why Carl doesn't want me to get an SUV because they are, even in northern Canada, drug dealers' wives' cars. So why does gigging in the UK? You've obviously done that for years and everything. Like it's obviously a massive difference. What made this your home? Like, because you've been here fucking ages. This is where I know you've gigged all around the world, but this became your home. Like, what is it about gigging in the UK that's different, and why did it stick with you?
Well, I mean, I don't know if this is being covered on, but the UK has got a gig every couple of feet. Like, there's a gig across the hallway. There's a mirth gig in this building.
The Science Centre. Oh, my God.
But there is a...
Having passed these cunts on the corridor, that would be a fucking dry gig.
Is it a Science Centre? I didn't realize.
It really is. It looks like a technical college, and this is where they're trying to cure COVID.
If you're joking, there is a gig in this.
Yeah,
complex.
across the way.
Oh my God, there is as well.
I did it a month ago.
Yeah, hang on. There is a gig. In my head, in the joke was literally on the other side of this hallway is the science bit. But actually, if you just go out of a door 34 feet away, is a gig.
That's what I'm saying, man. You can set up a gig. I'll do a gig on the train on the way into town. There'll be someone. I've done gigs on trains in this country. I mean, people in Britain have an amazing sense of humor, and some of them don't. Some of them are fucking foul and horrible. But actually, in the Northwest, and I'm not saying this to blow smoke, but in Liverpool, I've always found it might be different if you're a Cockney comedian, but for me, I've always found the sense of humor in Liverpool, and I'm Glaswegian, so maybe there is that little weird.
Yeah, you're insane as well.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, who's gonna? But I just think there's so many comedy gigs. But I came here because I was escaping. In the 1 year, my marriage, my wife and I broke up. She had slept with a couple of my two closest friends that weren't the Courtney.
Jesus.
Yeah, you putting sad music on?
Yeah.
and then about
you just let it out, babe.
I know.
He's doing emotional warm-ups.
I haven't really worked on this piece yet, but but then Juice Pigs broke up like a month later. And so I lost in the scan of about maybe 3 months, went from we were on Mad TV, we were like are we the same management as Jim Carrey? Barry Katz was looking after our live stuff. We were Barry Katz, he does like Chappelle and all those people.
Yeah.
So we were like that. And then in 3 months, I suddenly had lost everything. I was living back in my house that I had with my wife and my dog, and everything had been moved out of it. And then the same weekend that my wife left me, Greg Neal, who was also in the group, his wife had left him, but they had a 10-month-old son, so he trumped me on the sad stakes. And I spent about 3 months there trying to keep my relationship going and try and figure out how to keep the Juice Pigs together. And then it just ended. So I was suddenly moved to Britain.
Well, yeah. If you're gonna change continents, use that as the wind in your sails, eh? Well, like being cheated on, a breakup, and your band split up.
So I lost the three guys, and the two guys that just Pigs, and the two managers, and my two best friends. I lost my 7 closest people in my life. The people that I was spending all my time with. If I wasn't with them, I was on tour with the other guys, and for 5 years, and that was suddenly gone. So Lisa White, who has been my agent in this country, and who I stayed with when I was coming over touring with the Juice Pigs, said, "Why don't you've got a British passport because you're born in Scotland. Move to Britain and I'll try and get some gigs." So she got me gigs. It's true. Ed Byrne had been our support act on our first tour. In fact, the Juice Pigs' first tour, we couldn't afford a real comedian, so we'd asked Ed to do it because he'd only be doing comedy for about maybe 5 or 6 months at that point, and he was already brilliant. Yeah. He was superior from the very beginning. So he did that tour with us. So the first week I moved to Britain, my first gigs were at the Comedy Caf because Noel Faulkner was a big fan of the Juice Pigs and mine. We got along personally, and he put me on, but he put me on following Ed because he just assumed Gold Court and the Juice Pigs. I can't,
Yeah.
And I hadn't really done much like stand up. I was kind of really winging it. I'd done a show with Mike Wilmot in Edinburgh, and I was winging it. And I had 2 weekends booked in. And after the Friday night, Noel came up and said, "Can I talk to you? There's your money for 2 weeks. We don't need you tomorrow or next week."
Oh Jesus!
And I got the money, but I got
you got paid out.
I got let go. Yeah, that was my first. So that was like welcome. And I was staying in after I moved, I moved him to Kerry Marks. I was like almost like a squat flat, like in an attic room that you couldn't stand in the. You couldn't stand in the room. You had to always be like on the. So I had a futon on the floor, surrounded by porn and paupers. Probably some of the worst year of my life. And then I started a second comedy career, it just brought me here. Look at this.
Just keeps going.
Just
got to go. Every good career's got like a pretty bleak, weird, like squat start, bad gig start. But I mean, that is particularly.
I've done it twice now.
Yeah. Holy shit.
We used to tour across Canada with the Juice Pigs. We used to, at one point, we had so little money, only enough money to get per petrol to get us to the next gig to fill the van up. Our van was called Jesus because it kept breaking down and coming back. But we used to have like a little styrofoam cup. And I remember this clearly. All we had was a styrofoam cup, 1 spoon, and a box of Cheerios. And we just like shared around. And go, that's how. And when I hear like young kids here going, "Not a terrible gig," the kids go, "Just a horrible gig." They weren't even listening. I'm thinking, what the fuck are you talking about? I toured across Canada in a fucking van drinking gin and eating Cheerios out of a styrofoam cup that we had to keep washing out.
I love not having bandmates though. It's just so good.
That's why I stopped and carrying stuff as well. I used to be a drummer.
Oh, go.
And fucking the joy of just showing up to a gig was nothing.
What have you got?
And
I've
just,
got my voice.
I'm just going to talk.
And even that, at the Edinburgh Festival, even if that goes, you'll be like, I'll get through.
The first time I ever did King Kong, I had no voice. I go, what's the crack? How's it going, folks?
Yeah. When people are like, when's the best time to go to the Edinburgh Fringe? It's probably towards the end, isn't it? When the shows will be better. You're like, well, the sweet spot, I think, is about maybe the third week, about 10, 12 days in, where everyone's definitely got the show right, but they've not drunk the liver into oblivion and shouted themselves hoarse. Because in that last week, there are some comedians like, so, this has been a long month.
Brendan Burns used to have a notepad that he wore on his neck because he used to write because he'd go, I can't speak. I've got 5 gigs tomorrow.
Still got
5 gigs.
I saw, you mentioned Ed Byrne. I saw Ed Byrne late and live in 2019 at the Edinburgh Fringe, and he was up there and he was like, very young crowd, and he was like, geez, all my fucking middle-aged materials doing fuck all here. And then he just like, you saw him just like switch gears, and he just went, do you ever be watching a porn and just think, take your shoes off, you slut?
I am absolute full agreement with Ed Byrne. My least
It destroyed.
Can't agree enough.
And he went,
when the dudes are wearing trainers and socks, I'm like, I know you need purchase.
And he went, that's it, Ed, dig into that old material. And he goes, you guys know Alanis Morissette?
Oh, did he do it?
He didn't do the bit. I was like, dude,
no, come and do it. Yeah.
Isn't it ironic?
But he was doing all that stuff like really early on. I mean, he was, and then we had 1 week where he couldn't make it, and he introduced us to Adam Bloom, who was also at the time like just a brand new. Adam probably be able to tell you exactly how many gigs it was. That was gig 34. But these guys were really they were super strong. That whole generation. David Haddingham and Ed and Andrew
These are
Maxwell.
all like
they're all kind of the same class.
These are all like the 5th years when I started. They were like when I was a first year in comedy. These are all the guys that I was like, oh my god, one day I'll be like you. It's so funny.
Yeah, right. So for me, this is also part of the constant depression I have. Is like, well, this is as good as I'm gonna. This is as bad, guys. But this is.
So how do you do it?
I've reached that. I've done it. I'm in Runcorn.
This is it. All of those gigs on the road when you nearly died.
Who's all into that green bridge?
We did nearly die once. We were in a bad car accident going to Windsor, which is across the river from Detroit, and we just left Toronto. Joe was driving. Joe smoked a lot of like hash, man. It was bad. But I was in the passenger seat and Sean was in the back, and whatever happened, Joe just sort of it's a double lane, like I don't want to call it like an A road highway here, but there's a big gully and then the other cars coming that way. And Joe was on the outside lane. It just started moving across like slowly, and I'm just sitting watching, going, listening to music, and then going, Joe, are you? And then it just kept. I realized, and I looked over, and he was like, and I didn't grab the wheel, but I just tried to touch, like hold the wheel. He woke up and went, whoa, like that. No. And we went across straight, hit the gravel. The car spun around the back. So we're going backwards at full speed, like 80, 60, 80 kilometers an hour. And then the car, when it hit the gully, it tipped up. It went over on itself and then rolled on its side. So when the car stopped, all of this material in the car was going in slow motion. And when the car finally stopped, and I'm not proud of this, I went, she's gonna blow, because I've seen way too many movies, and I couldn't get. And the door was on it, the car was on its side, so I'm like, turn it back, we gotta get out of here. I thought I was gonna die in a mad explosion. So we jumped out, we get the door up, and Sean had to climb up the front, and we're like running from the car, like as if it's like as if we're in slow motion, and it didn't blow up. But all the cars had stopped both ways, and they came running up to us. By the time we settled down, everyone had fucked off. There was one guy going, I'm a doctor, I'm a chiropractor, here's my card.
A chiropractor?
A chiropractor.
What the fuck's he going to do?
And this was back in the days when like mobile phones were really rare. He had like one of those big fancy, he's a chiropractor. He went, I've called the police, and I've got to go. So he left us, and we're all just sitting there going, what the fuck? And the car's like totaled. And so a cop came and picked us up. He drove us to Guelph. We took a bus back to Guelph and then got the midnight bus and made the gig. Because we don't give up.
And you just leave the car.
You don't do that anymore. Now it's
one of my big fears is that I'm going to die doing something inane, like some shite gig.
Yeah.
Like I will, like, you don't, I know you don't get to pick but I'll probably have an aneurysm, like, picking my fucking some shit out of like my feet or something like, what's that? Like, I know, like, I'll go in some inane way.
Yeah.
Because of course, if you're a comedian, you don't get to like save people from a burning building and then have that sort of like hero's death.
No.
But I've had so many of those moments where you're driving to some just shite gig, and I remember driving to Darlington and just aquaplaning for a bit because there was a puddle I just hadn't seen, like really quite a long puddle. Yeah. And I was like, oh, the car's not doing that. And then it sort of re-got itself. I was like, oh, I nearly died on some fucking shitty road driving near Kirby Stephen across to Darlington for 120 quid. And then I also thought, like, I've left my flat in such a bad state. There was porn out. There was like the laptop was out. There was moisturizer and tissues. So my family would have had to like tidy up my flat, going, oh, he had a wank before he died, before he set off to his death.
Do you have a brother?
Yeah.
Do you have a brother?
No, I don't. No, I have a sister, and she'd be fully judgmental.
Okay.
She would put
fucking
it. The very idea. I know that I'm going to go in one of the...
Put that in a fucking museum. That's Dan's last ever cum tissue. That'll go on the wall. Thank you.
Just have it around my open casket. Moisturizer.
And in fucking 1,000 years, you'll have Richard Attenborough there, and they'll just get the cum, and they'll like the fucking fly in Jurassic Park.
Oh, really?
And there'll be an amusement
Jurassic
park.
nonce.
Just loads of Dan Nightingales.
No, I want around my casket. I just want the moisturizer, the tissue, and I just want porn with no one wearing shoes. That's my absolute ideal.
Yeah. There's a Jack for every Jill.
Talking about the cancel culture stuff, you were telling us a story about you. I can't even fathom this, but before we started recording, you were saying that you work with Jerry Sadowitz, who over here is, I mean, it's a long history of being the edgiest of comics that's been rejected by the mainstream almost entirely, apart from those few glimpses where he's got those TV opportunities and he's been so off the wall, but he's been doing it for years. But you were saying that you got on there and still had stuff edited out by...
Well, Jerry Sadowitz, if you don't know him, that's another. If you like raw comedy, he's one of the rawest. If you don't know him,
he's OG, isn't he? He's like properly
he
one
like
of the.
He was in the video Ebenezer Good. He's a good.
Yeah.
He is Ebenezer Good
shaman.
in the video.
Of course he is. Yeah.
He's Ebenezer Good. So he's a classic comic. He's also a great sleight of hand magician. I believe. And I think Adam told me this because he's the reason Adam Bloom started doing comedy, because Adam Bloom also likes sleight of hand magic, and Jerry Sadowitz is one of his favorite comedians. He had a TV show called The Jerry A Trick Show, and we had the Juice Pigs had followed. They had an act called Bib and Bob. On what's the other comedian's name? Oh, it's going to bug me now. Okay, not important to the story, but Bib and Bob were his double act. And one of their shows we were on before them, and their show is the ballroom in Edinburgh. It's about 350 seats, sold out. And Bib and Bob come on, and they would start the show. The back doors would open onto the stage. The audience would applaud, and it'd be Jerry in a wheelchair with the top hat on, going like that. And as Bob wheeled him on, right? And then Bob would be like angry, going, Jerry, come on, stop doing that. And he'd bring out a big double-sided dildo and start smacking about the back and shoulders with it until Jerry would be like, and he'd fall on the ground. And then Bob would he had a big, like a boiler suit on, stick his hand in the boiler suit, pretend to masturbate, and then whip cream onto Jerry. That's how the show opened. Every night.
That was their opening.
That's how the show started.
Yeah.
And every night, we would watch from the side, because the 350-seat theater, they'd lose at least 100 people, like immediately. There'd be like people saying, "No, come on, honey, we got to go grab the kids. We're going to go." It was like a sketch show with Jerry Sadowitz. And that's how, and then when they'd all leave, and they'd take a really long time, they just keep doing this action of hitting them and masturbating. When they'd all leave, he'd stand up and go, "Oh, right, that's the cunt's gone." And then the show would start.
So he did it. It was
to get rid.
Absolutely went hard straight off the bat. Yeah.
So that man had a TV show called The Jerry A Trick Show, which was a close-up magic show. But Bib and Bob had a section in the show. I think you might be able to see it.
So Adam Rowe has said, because I know we've mentioned Adam Bloom. Our Adam has said many a time that there's something about going in terms of like how you're getting a laugh and pushing the envelope as far as you can early doors, so that you set the tone. So if anyone goes, "Ooh," You can go, no, because you were fine with the fucking first one, so don't get all prissy on the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Unless you're me at the store last week.
Yeah.
I got a big.
What did you
I
do?
got my first ever 10 at the Comedy Store. I got a big boo in the middle of the set, but I always like, because it's a Chuckle Brothers joke about one of them dying.
Okay.
But I do like Paralympics material beforehand. And I was like, fuck yourselves if that's the line.
Exactly, yeah.
That thing.
But I mean, the next layer over that is to do something so fucking out there and offensive that you just lose 100 cunts.
Yeah. Well, the Bim Bob show was like, and I mean, I'm not even exaggerating. It was at least a third of the crowd every single night.
Phil, I want you to do a Have a Word live show so much. I would love to know what level of obscene you'd have to do as your opening bit to lose 100 out of 350 of these. Like, they'd be like, do it, go on, lad.
If you invited Jerry Sadovich to come on to that, he would certainly do his best. If he knew that was the challenge, he's the man for it. So, and I did the warm-ups for his show, and he used to, this is a weird advice. I don't even know if it makes sense, but he used to come, I'd be a bit nervous. I was still quite new to doing stand-up, you know, even though I'd done all this stuff with the Juice Pigs. And I brought my guitar, and they were his crowd, so they were into filth. And I would sing a song, this song called Emotionally Challenged Girl that Greg Neal and I had written. And he loved it, and they loved it. But it was never, you know, it was just a warming them up for him. But he used to come up and put, just before I went on his warm-up, he put a hand on my shoulder, and he said, remember, Phil, if they laugh at you, loathe them for it.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, and I couldn't, I mean, okay, let's take that apart, because I was like, what does he mean? Like, but what he's saying is, he goes, you know it's an act. So if they're laughing, they're idiots. They're like, loathe them. And I think that's, I don't know if it's right, but you know, but you can see what his logic is. The more they laugh, the more he go, ugh.
An act once said to me, and she's a bit like wishy-washy, believes in crystals and stuff. She said at the back of the room, before she goes on stage, she looks at the backs of the heads of all the audience and goes, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. And I was like, I'm the fucking opposite. Before I go on, I'm like, these fucking idiots again.
That's what I think Jet said.
Something in that. I know you want to like it's fucking people that come to see me, whatever, fantastic. But there's some level of like,
yeah,
you know,
there's a balance to get right though, because if you have absolutely no affection or regard for an audience, you are not gonna get booked for that long, are you? Like,
well, he does though, but he does because it means he's got to be really good.
A real disdain for them.
Sam Kinison used to hate the audience.
Yeah,
I think you don't want.
How do you honestly feel?
I try to be. My problem is I try to be a crowd pleaser, even though I still break the rules and am naughty, but I still want people to, in the end, to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And the best, you know, the best shows you have are when people are standing up at the end, and you know, I don't want to go home and hang out with them.
No, I've never seen you do anything apart from fucking destroy gigs.
Oh man,
you
I've had loads of shit gigs.
No, I know, but like, it's not because you're not trying. Like,
yes, well,
like there are some comics who on stage you can see the disdain they have for a crowd.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think I get it that like
Sure.
I'm above you and you're just fucking punters.
Yeah.
But I also think there's something quite wholesome about someone knowing all that, being an intelligent, smart performer, but then also having the grace to respect the stage and the art enough to be like, yeah, you are punters, and I know better than you, but I'm still going to give you a show.
Yeah.
Is it that you want them to enjoy it, but they don't? And this is where I think some people, like some comedians, frustrate me. You shouldn't care whether they like agree or not. Like some of the best comedians can do jokes where the point, and like Adam Rowe's good at this. He'll say something so disagreeable and so obviously horrible, but he gets it over the line, and you have to explain it in such a way and justify the point in such a funny way that they're laughing at stuff that they know is horrible.
Yeah.
I think some people now like to get on and try to get everyone to go, yeah, that's right and good, isn't it?
You have to trust them to be adults to be able to dissect what you're saying and then decide what they like or don't like or what they agree. I'm such a fucking whore. I'm like me and my voices.
How many times have we done that though? We remember in the south of France, we were like, they're fucking horrible gigs, and every night we'd go, come on, we got to do this, and we go on and just pretend we're having the best time ever. And we both fucking hated it.
Me, Phil, and Paul Sinner went to do gigs in the south of France, and it was just basically playing. It was just playing to Aquatories. It was just fucking the south of France. The only good gig that we did was the one where, oh yeah, I know exactly what story. I've told it on here. I've told the story on here. The only good gig we did was when it was to the staff the people that worked on the yachts.
Yeah.
Because that was in Monaco, and they were like, hey! The other ones were all like, hi, we live in the south of France for a lot of the summer. And you were like, it felt dirty.
Horrible.
But that was the trip.
Yeah.
Mate, you were so fucking great that whole tour. That was really good. That was a trip where Paul Sinner took us to a gay sex club.
Yeah, he just wanted to pop in. We were going out, and he knew a place. It was called the Tractor Beam, I think, or something.
Do you know what it was called?
I think it was called the
He was
Tractor-
so nice about it. He was like, obviously
Nice.
he's gay. He was like,
in Nice.
it's just around the corner before we go out, because we planned to go out drinking for the last night.
Yeah.
He was like, just before we go out, I wonder if it's all right if I just nip in a sex club
Yeah.
before we go out. And I was maybe 26 at the time,
Never been to a
27.
gay club.
And I was like, I'd been to a gay club, but I'd never been to a fucking gay sex club. So I was like, okay, cool. And Phil was like, you've never seen a cooler guy with it. He was like, yeah, cool, no worries, man. Of course, that's absolutely great. And we walked in, and the level of cool that Phil exuded through the whole experience, where Paul just disappeared into a dark room.
But if you remember, he had to buy a ticket, and there was a turnstile that goes into the door.
Yeah.
Like a fucking away day.
There was a bar area.
We went round to the bar area.
You paid your ticket.
So I'm now pretending that Dan and I are like we're an item, and so we're having a little bit of fun. And he's going stop, and I'm going, come on, Dan. Hey, Dan, what can I get you? So
There's gay porn. This guy's like banging on the video screen.
And there's only two other people in the bar. There's a couple further down with like mustaches and chaps, and they're just looking over at me, and I'm going, hi guys, and they're going, and Dan's going, looking at me, going, please stop. And I'm like, so do we have some shooters or what do we have? And I'm like, look at, and those guys, one of the guys turned his mate, so to like stomach into the bar, and then just stood beside him, and then looked over us. Was just going like that. Like then Dan's going, is Paul coming back out?
I'm not joking. This guy had gradually just moved around. Phil's not even flinched, and he was just looking at us going.
They just kept coming closer and closer to us, and I think they recognized there was a little bit of fear, and they just like started looking.
Do you remember what Paul said when he came out of the back room? He went, right, I've just jizzed on a guy's face. Let's get off. And Phil went, cool.
Let's go.
I was like, okay, I'm not finishing my Heineken.
And it's called the Tractor Beam.
I think it's called the Tractor Beam.
It's a good name for a gay sex club.
Yeah,
a lot of sucking going on.
Oh my God,
it's got it all, doesn't it? Really.
I thought I was like, oh yeah, I've seen it all. I've seen
it's so you were very funny. You were very funny because I know there's a difference between playing naive and shy and actually being naive and shy. Yeah. And you were just going. You kept going, how long is Paul going to be in the house? And I was going like 7 minutes, 8 minutes. Like, and then he's not going to remember that.
It was like you'd been to it was like, yeah, I've got loads of gay friends that we always go to a gay sex club before I go out.
We go to Woody's. I've been like,
it was the way they were like,
oh yeah. Oh, they just couldn't stop looking like, and the guys are like doing this with his friend, and they're both looking over us.
You could have sold me for €8 right then. Like, €8, go on lads. Can you play us the song that didn't make it on the Jerry Sadowitz show? Yes, you were asked not to do.
Yes, I can. Now I'm only doing this because I don't really do it much anymore. It's Greg Neal and I wrote this. It was when we were in the Juice Pigs, and this was so I was on the geriatric show because I was doing the warm ups, and Jerry loved the song, so he actually got the producers to put me on the show, and I recorded this. I did a short set, and I recorded the song. And then when the show came out, it had been cut from the show. So actually, of all the things to get axed from a Jerry Sadowitz show, it was my song. So I felt quite proud about that, to be slightly more offensive than him.
I love it.
It's a love song. You show your vagina for a piece of popcorn, and everyone around you starts to laugh. But you mean much more to me, emotionally challenged girl. 1, 2, 3, and then you start to wee and drink your urine from a paper cup. Those kids are not your friends. Emotionally challenged girl. Now you might think that it's weird when I tell you not to wear your poo as a beard. Well, I tell you, don't show your tits and don't flash your ass and don't eat plums whole. And I spit out the pits. I fucked the song up. So don't run away and don't turn your back and take that chewed up frisbee from your crack. You mean much more to me. You are my fantasy. Kiss me, it's ecstasy. Emotionally challenged. Emotionally challenged. Emotionally challenged girl. La da 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 da.
Yes. Let's have a little break. There is no following the emotionally challenged girl.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to let you know about our lead sponsor, Manscaped.com, the best in below-the-belt men's grooming. Join the over 4 million men worldwide using men's below-the-belt grooming from Manscaped, and Valentine's Day is coming up. I've got a little bit of opposition here. I reckon we need a new national holiday. I think February the 13th, the day before Valentine's Day, should become national. In fact, no, worldwide Shave Your Balls Day. Because let's be truly honest, Valentine's Day, all the bells and whistles of it is for the woman. All a man wants is to get sucked off. And that is only really going to happen if he's got a nice trimmed pubic region.
So you need the Manscaped Performance Package 4.0 with the amazing Lawnmower 4.0, which is honestly one of the best bits of kit. We got sent them when Manscaped became a sponsor. They're a phenomenal bit of kit. You don't get nicked. You've got a little light on it. It runs forever. You can use it in the shower. You've also got the weed whacker for your nose hair, because ladies do not like a hairy fucking nose. You also get extra gifts. There's like a shed travel bag, which was really nice. Anti-chafe, like, what are these? Like boxes by Manscaped.
The boxes are amazing. I actually personally love the ball deodorant and the toner as well.
And they've smelt better ever since you started
My
using
balls smell fucking lovely, mate.
Well, no, the guests comment.
Look, treat your missus to getting you one of these shavers. Your dick will look better. Your dick will look bigger. And honestly, she's going to want to touch it more, because no one wants to touch a messy little pubic region. You've got like leftover cum in it.
Oh, God. God, no. Really? Is that an issue? Is that the issue? Go to manscaped.com for our exclusive offer of 20% off plus free shipping with the code WORD20. What's the code, Adam?
The code is WORD20. Shave your balls. Make your woman think you're great.
Come in your pubes, eh? Problem.
Sometimes.
Have a wash first, yeah?
There's only so much shampoo can do.
Yeah. Get the Lawnmower 4.0. Hack away.
It is actually the best thing I own.
It is. 100%. Welcome back to the final. So how's it been producing, Finn? How do you feel?
It's not that daunting. I've got Steve with me. He's helping out. It's weird without Carl. I'm trying.
You've not dropped the zingers.
No, I'm trying not to interject as much and being a lot less racist.
I
just
mean,
in
that's
general. It's not difficult.
Yeah.
No, it's not difficult.
I don't think you're ever going to be a fan favourite without those two, without interjections and racism. Where are you, mate?
Yeah. I know.
Yeah. Well, you chuck some in now, and we can just drop it in throughout.
He's too nice. He's just too nice a person.
Can we bleep it?
Yeah, well, you're going to say something.
What the fuck are you going to say?
And then no matter what he says now, just go. So people go, oh my God, what do you?
Finn's best effort at racism would be something against like Greek Cypriots or something.
Fuck the Greeks. I'll go with that one. You're shit. You're shit.
Bleep it when he says Greeks.
Homophobic.
Bleep it when he says Greeks. And you can't say the N-word, Finn. Jesus Christ.
Have we got a bleep? Have we even got a bleep sound?
Yeah, we've used it for Carl a couple of times this year. Only this year.
What did he say?
What did he bleep?
Well, I'm not going to say it now, because then I'll have to bleep it again.
You say it.
You say it and we'll bleep it out. Tell us.
What did he say?
Is that why you didn't want the halloumi cheese at Nando's before?
Yeah.
Because of the atrocities.
Fuck the Greeks.
Yeah.
Why? What did they do?
I'm Turkish.
Oh,
so
here we go.
fuck the Greeks.
He's half Turkish.
Yeah. Oh, do you still think Cyprus belongs to the Turks, do you?
No, I'm not.
Whoa, Finn.
Oh, I know you hate Greeks, but not disabled Greeks.
Yeah. And children.
Oh, crushed by yogurt.
They're only humans.
We've got some very serious questions, Phil, because
Let me just get myself together for this, Dan. Just sort of
this is challenging. Okay, so I don't know if you're ready for this. Wag lids. Would you rather? Now you've got to live and die by the would you rather. This is a hypothetical. You can't be like, well, I do neither. You've got to do one of them,
right,
or die. Would you rather have sex with your best friend just once, or kiss their knob once every time you see them? Keep up the good work. That's from Ed Staples. So from now on in, your best friend, you've either just got to clear the with just one really awkward shag, or forever till you die, a kiss on the naked penis at least once when you see them.
Well, I'm really lucky, Dan, because my best friend is my girlfriend.
I was going to say that.
And you don't mind kissing her penis?
I'll do both. I'll do both. Thank you. Escape.
I'm as much as I don't really want to imagine fucking my best friend, the other option is that
it's either once and you try and forget about it, or
no, I don't think you've.
No, but
which way around?
But if you can't forget about it, if you see him every time, you've got to kiss their knob. That's horrible.
But I think would you not just come up with a system?
As you that's your greeting,
what happens,
not kissing on the cheeks.
What happens if the time you do shag him and then it's quite nice, so, and every time you see him after that, you want to kiss his penis, and he doesn't want that.
Well, that'd
be heartbreaking.
Yeah, that would be really bad. I think that's definitely the problem that a lot of these lads are thinking about now. Exactly. When it comes to this, would you rather? Everyone's like, "What if I fall in love?
What if and he doesn't want me?"
Unrequited. Right? I think I don't want to say my best mate Bondi. Right? I see him twice a year, maybe.
It's all right.
Right. You see your best mate.
I see my best mate 4 times a week.
Oh, that's a lot of dick kissing, isn't it?
Can I ask a question? How is what's he like? Does he look good? He's good looking.
Like dick.
These are choices.
Phil, you're making this so much more romantic than it needs to be. I mean,
is there music?
Where does he take you for dinner? I think if you had to see your best mate, I don't want to fuck him, right? If you had to see your best mate twice a year, you could just be like, dude, I don't want to lose you as a friend. So when I get there, before we do everything, like, oh, look, we're going out here for drinks and everything. You just go to the bathroom, you whip the knob out, and you just get in the habit of going like, and then you're out.
Well, actually, because
do it twice. He's French.
Too bad he's not Dutch. There's 3 but
because that's better than fucking him.
Yeah, but the logic would be that you then wouldn't end up meeting out. You'd end up, if you knew that was going to be the thing, you'd end up meeting. You'd have a place where you go and meet where you could do the.
You think you'd still meet up? Do you think that would dissuade you from meeting up with your best friend, and you would gradually lose them?
Well, you could lose your best friend. I'm down to 3. I can't lose more than 3. One lives in South Africa, one lives in Portsmouth, and one.
Where are you
going to
move to if you lose your best friends again?
No.
I can't lose anymore.
I'd be happy to go back to prison if that happened.
My best friend's in prison.
At least they call him my
It's
best
the same
friend.
amount of dick kissing anyway.
Also, the thing is, knowing it would happen, you'd start to spruce yourself up a little bit. Come on, a little. Knowing that, don't look at me like that. You know it's going to happen. You may as well make the most of it. Go for ice cream.
If you've entered a bet with your friend where you have to kiss his dick a lot, go to manscaped.com.
Yes.
Code word 20.
If you cannot resist the all-powerful nature of a would you rather, yes, mate, you've just earned your fee back. It's pretty horrific, but you don't want to have full sex with your mate. And I just feel like there's a way of being like, I know it would ruin the meeting up and everything, but it'd be like, have you definitely washed it? And just get really like 1, 2, 3, like that. Come on, you couldn't do that like a trooper.
I'd once on stage at Glastonbury, I had a guy who it was like sort of a game of chicken. And he was a big rugby player, and I was comparing, and I got him up on stage, and he was like, I was like, I kept making jokes. I'm gonna suck somebody's cock. I'm gonna prove how straight I am by sucking someone's cock like the way a straight man would suck a cock. And this guy went, I'll do it, and I was, oh no, okay, we're. So he's this great big Welsh dude get up on stage, and he was going, I was going, I'm gonna do it. Like, and I'm stuck now being all bravado, but I'm gonna, you get it out, and I'm gonna suck your cock to show you how straight I am, I'm gonna suck your cock like a straight man. And he was like, all right then. And people are going, woo. The place started to go, like, come on, he's gonna do it. Then so he started going, like, pulling his zipper down. I thought, oh my God, I'm stuck. This is I can't. I'm only gonna lose this match.
Because he's a rugby boy. He's had his dick out in public so
and
many
he kept
times.
looking at me, and it was going, I'm gonna keep going, and I was going, go on then. And you could see him he's starting to lose the will because he's thinking, actually, this guy's
ultimate game of gay chicken.
This guy's mental enough just to maybe do it, and also you could see him do it. And I was going, go on, get it out. I'm gonna. And then I got down my knees, going, come on, then. Right? And the crowd's going, whoa! And you can see him going, and I looked, and I thought he's starting to get it, and I thought I've got to do something. So I looked up and I went. It was away.
Oh, nice.
I never had to do it. That's as about close as I.
Is that how you thought Glastonbury would go?
Was that?
Is that how you thought Glastonbury would go?
Yeah.
Phil does that at every gig. That's his
closer.
That's his closer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my closer. Yeah.
But so if you're with, is it Bondi, your mate?
My mate Tim. Yeah.
Right. Does it change it if you fuck him or if he fucks you?
Oh, I don't. I hadn't even thought about.
Or, for example, he roofies you, unconscious, fucks you don't remember it.
Right. Okay. Good. Now we're really. Look,
Yeah.
what a sinister way of getting around
yeah.
this.
Exactly.
You get raped, but it's a good thing. Dan. It's a good rape.
Just have the shits for a week. What's that?
Do I?
It's either that or kiss his penis every time you meet him. Your choice is yours.
Oh, yeah.
You'll be getting roofied every time you meet your friend. Fuck's sake.
Also, do I go round to his to get roofied? Just like, or does he just like, all of a sudden, I wake up like groggy, like, oh shit, Bondi's been. Like,
Oh yes, that's true because it doesn't have to be straight away. It doesn't have to. There's no
I don't
in the
know, guys.
question. It doesn't have to be like as soon as you meet.
I don't want to get bummed or have to
can go-
bum anyone. I just think
Not even in your
I just think
sleep.
you maybe see your best friend less. I'm getting married. Well, I'll pucker up.
But
Just big events. Does it count on Zoom?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, kissing a dick definitely counts. On Zoom. Listen, I'd love to kiss your dick, but there's a pandemic, so is it socially distanced?
Yeah,
2
I
meters.
keep my mask on.
A little bit of advice. Can we? You seem like you know.
Well, a lot of people think I'm really good with advice. You can imagine people come to
Yeah,
come
you're a
to
serious
me.
person.
He's the kind of guy that takes things seriously.
Adam Richardson says, need a bit of advice on a potentially awkward situation. Yep. I'm going on holiday with a group of mates in a few weeks, but we've booked an Airbnb without check-in, and there's 4 of us sharing 2 double beds. We're backpacking, so we can't really pack blankets, which means we're going to have to be sharing beds. I don't mind that too much, but to quote a Schultz bit, all my mate has to do is not fuck me. But I move about quite a lot in my sleep, and I'm a bit paranoid about waking up spooning my mate. Wow. After the conversation we've just had, this question sounds total milquetoast. Like, oh my God, babe, are you worried about spooning?
There's 4 of us and 2 towels.
More out of social embarrassment rather than toxic masculinity. I'd suggest there's a little bit of the latter.
Yeah.
Any suggestions on how to prevent me rolling over all over the bed in my sleep, or am I just being a quendo? Nice one. That's from Adam Richardson.
Roofie yourself.
Every time, Vittorio! Jesus
selling them?
Christ! Is this what you're going to do with your missus when you need to clean the flat? She's going to wake up all groggy, like, what's happened? Oh, the flat's sparkling. Man, I genuinely just like, shit, if you're on the piss with your boys and you need to share a bed, just fucking get on with it.
What's wrong with sleeping on the floor?
Oh, really? Are you a floor man?
I mean, what's the difference?
What's wrong with spooning? Spooning with the boys?
Come on now. Is that Protestant or Catholic? That sounds Catholic to me.
It definitely sounds Catholic.
I don't know, man. Like, just you'll be fine. You'll be all right.
Just kiss his dick and get on.
Just kiss his dick. Is he your best friend?
Yeah. As soon as he comes, he falls asleep anyway.
Adam, I think you'll be fine. I fucking hate sleeping on the floor.
Brutal.
I like.
No, really, I don't.
Have you not asked? One of the things about starting out in comedy is you just have to accept a bed, a floor, a sofa, a couch, anywhere.
Yeah.
that you're offered.
Yeah.
It's one of my favourite things about moving up the, like, you know, when you move up the pay rankings, and you're like, finally, like, oh, I think I'm on headline money. Oh my God, I'm never going to have to stay on someone's cheap as fuck £85 IKEA futon that doesn't open up.
Yeah.
I loved it.
It's got those big buttons in it.
Why do they always have buttons in them?
Futon.
What's the function of them?
Hold the futon together?
But what? Just stitch it.
Just roofie yourself.
Just roofie every time.
You never feel the button.
Just roofie yourself. Vittorio's answer for everything. We've got some have a words.
It's time to have a word.
Alex Farr says, wag wag lads. Except Sensei Carl, he knows what he's done. Have a word with my mam, she's 47. She and my dad got divorced a few years back, and now she's in a serious relationship with somebody my age, 24.
Whoa.
I used to hate this guy. We all get on now, but I think it would be funny to hear your take on the situation. How do I not kill him every time he makes attempts and flirty jokes in front of me? No need to keep anonymous. Love you all from the Welsh Valleys. Still mad at you, Carl. I don't know what's gone on with this guy and Carl, but
it's probably some racism. I just
right.
given the history.
God, you Welsh are so fucking touchy. Also, my mum listens. If that's a help, love you. Love you guys. What? Why is everyone letting their mums watch this shit?
No.
So I got. I was really ill last week. I had norovirus. Had some pretty biblical shits. And I drink way too much caffeine and not hydrated properly. Yeah. So I literally do not have the fluid in my system. Stop it. I'm not hydrated enough to shit myself 17 times in like 6 hours. So by Thursday morning, coming out of like the worst of norovirus, I was like a fucking digestive biscuit. I was so dry. I felt so rough. It's taken me days to recover. Then we had to do the half-blind date show, where I gave it absolutely everything. I was nearly asleep at the wheel 8 minutes after the show time because I did that thing where you're like, you know when you don't feel well, there's a massive show and you're like, I've done it, I've done my job, I need to go home immediately before someone puts a drink in my hand.
It's the Michael Jordan flu game. You know the flu game, Michael Jordan?
Right.
He was really unwell and he had to be carried off the court at the end of every play, but he was like,
you just know.
Scored 40, 50.
That's exactly how I see it. I mean, I was dressed as Cilla Black and we basically did a fucking doss around blind date show. But I felt so like dehydrated and ropey. Finn came to collect his guitar on the Sunday. So I went and got the guitar out of my car. Just, you know, and you're like, oh, I do not feel well still. And I saw these old ladies, like old dears walking down the road. Like, it's pretty much a village. There's only old people and like people with young families in our village. There's so many 60, 75-year-old ladies walking dogs all the time. And I'd be like, hi. Sometimes I say hello. You know when you're ill and you're like, I thought I was hearing things. I heard one of them go, blind date. And I was like, oh, I just caught myself going, oh, I'm so ill. I'm so ill that I'm imagining two old ladies talking about me. They were like 30 yards away. I was like, oh, just... So I kept getting I got the boot out, and then they'd walked up to where I was, and one of them went, how did it go last night? Half-blind date. And you know, and you're just like, you know what this podcast is and what it represents, and the absolute filth that we talk. Like, I love it, and I love all these lids, but in my head... women my mum's age don't listen to this, and they
Scouse lads.
Obviously they can, and that's fine. But I'm like, I wasn't well enough to deal with someone's mum going, "Hello, love." She went, and she was telling her other friend who clearly didn't know what was happening. She was like, he's still a blacked up. I was like, oh my God, this woman knows all the terminology. But normally I'd have been like, all right, cool. But I was just feeling so frail and dehydrated. And then she went, yeah, my son is a patron. You know him, don't you? I was like, oh, it's one of the dads from my daughter's school. He's letting his mum, the fucking mental, watch our Patreon. So I'm like, okay. And she went, and I just watched the roast, Freddie Quinn. My God. So of all the content we've put out in the last 2 years, what's the most offensive shit that's happened? It's Freddie Quinn at the roast, isn't it? And if you've not signed up to the Patreon, patreon.com/haveawordpod, and watch Freddie Quinn take it way too far. And here is a 70-year-old lady going, I thought it was funny as fuck, and then drag a poodle off into the distance. Could not take it. So
Well, I would say to that guy, if his mum's listening to your podcast, then it's fair game if she's going out with a young man.
Do you think?
Yeah. Because she's open-minded, obviously. She's in with the ute.
Yeah, but hang on. In with the ute is all good, innit? Get the few references. Like
Fucking them.
Yeah. Fucking them is a little too far in, isn't
Alex's mum, you're going to have to roofie your son.
Oh, every time. Don't roofie him, Alex. Don't roofie your mum. Oh, I'm groggy. Well, at least he didn't fuck you. He's roofing his own mum so she doesn't get fucked. Just put her in a cupboard somewhere. The problem is, to a 24-year-old, their 47-year-old mum feels like they're too old and like, oh, she's an old lady.
Yeah,
I'm telling you right now, 47 is all good.
Yeah, it's prime.
I used to think 47. I used to think 47.
What do you?
Yeah.
What would you do? What would you do if I
started going out with one of my mates?
How old's your
from
mum?
School. My mum is. I need to work this out. 57.
Ooh, is she hot?
No,
So am I.
no.
Is she hot?
What?
Is she hot?
Yeah,
Are you
yeah.
57? Are you the same age as his mum?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
I could be your dad.
Oh,
Actually,
my God.
there's a reason they brought me here today.
Did you roofie my mum?
No, I ripped your mum, and now here you are.
Oh, 47 doesn't sound old to
It's
me.
not
what
old.
would you do? What would you do if one day I came in before a Patreon episode and said, "Lads, I've been seeing this lady and she's 47." Would you be like, "Yeah, go on," or would you be like, "What are you doing?"
Finn,
Yeah.
I would stand here
Yeah.
and clap.
Okay.
Right? I would be impressed if you would just stick your dick in any woman. Like, I want you to I'm married. I've been with my partner for 8 years. Live for me, Finn. For the love of tits. I want to see you bang a lady. I want to watch you.
Why?
I just want to hear the stories. I don't like Adam's stories. They're grim. There's too much, he's too banging. That's excessive. I'm worried he's going to end up with a scratchy place. But yeah, I'd be so happy for you. I think 47 might be beyond your top age range limit.
Slightly.
Although loads of advantages, she'll have half the mortgage paid off. You can play FIFA with their children, bang the mum and then be like, yeah, cool, let's play.
Sounds quite good, actually.
Yeah, she can cook. She probably bakes.
Wow.
Suck the dick off you.
Right, I'm sold.
Right, cool.
This
Well,
lad's
is it
done
not?
nothing
It's the
wrong.
gap. It's the gap rather than the upper age, isn't it?
What?
So it's about the gap. Say if your mate Tim same age as you,
Yeah.
right? And you're 40.
No, this doesn't work because you're gonna near double my age. So if Bondi walked in with a 78-year-old girlfriend, I've roofing myself. No, we're not doing that. You young cunt.
I went to a grab a granny night in Cork, Ireland. You ever done that gig? City Limits? Right beside the gig in Cork in the comedy club. What's it called?
I can't remember.
Yeah,
but
the
I
cats,
know
whatever. But they have a grab a granny night in the same building.
It's not branded Grab a Granny Night, is it? It's just one of those.
I don't think it's called grab a granny.
It's
but
just one of those disco nanas.
disco nanas. But it's like a lot of young Turkish guys like Finn in their trackies, looking with this looking for money to be spent on them. Like
yes.
You go in there, you're a student, you don't have much money. You go and get a granny to buy you drinks all night. Teaser.
And they're just glad of the company.
Turn it around. Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all done up. They're all looking good. But I like grab a granny. They're all like 60, 67 years of age. You're a kind of woman.
Yeah.
It's kind of inventory.
Yeah.
It's not horrible. I think it's.
You don't even need to roofie them. They're so old you could just put the weakest link on and they'd drop off.
just drop a raisin in their mouth and they fall asleep chewing it.
Just like,
Noel Edmonds. Oh Jesus. Stephen Clifton. Let's end on this one. Stephen Clifton says, "Wag wag lids. I don't know if this is a national thing or just here in my adopted home tune. I'd suggest this is from the northeast of England. But what the fuck is this recent craze in young men having mullets? They're absolutely minging, and I'm baffled as to why they think a lady would want to play with their pud looking like Joe Exotic. It's mental. They look gopping and a clear case of blinding following a trend with no originality." Well, I don't know what that sentence was meant to mean, but good for you for trying.
Say it in a Geordie accent.
They look gobbin on a clear case of blinding following a trend with no originality.
Oh, that makes sense.
That makes sense.
You know, fucking absolutely fucking magic. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man, you've got 2 fringes, one off the back of your head. You're fucking spanner. Or you need to have a word with me, and I need to let people live their best lives in neon writing. Cheers, lids. I'll see you at Blind Date. Well, you did see us at Blind Date, Stephen. So I don't know what that sentence was, but he's not happy with mullets.
You strike me as a man who's had a mullet.
I've had a mullet, but also in Canada, mullets are big because of ice hockey helmets. Because you want to show the ladies that you got long hair, but you also got to fit the helmet on, so you can't have it all down your face. So this bit's all shaved, and then big long bit at the back. The longer, the better.
Oh, so it actually suits the sport. You get it.
Suits, you get it short on the side, really long at the back, so you can still have luxurious long hair for those sensual moments after you've roofied someone. And then, and then
it does scream white trash, doesn't it? It really does.
It does look like that. I think that's the ironic look, the hipster look, is to wear the little mustache, the baseball cap, and the mullet. But they're doing it ironically. It's kind of a look, isn't it?
Whereas in Canada, it's like
it's not ironic.
No,
man. Those are serious men. You don't laugh at their mullet.
And
it's a man's haircut. So I don't know what your little friend from Newcastle there is, but wouldn't have your mouth flapping away like that there in Canada. You get a hockey stick to the head there, buddy.
I think everyone's doing it like as hipsters over here, aren't they?
Yeah, it's very indie boy.
You go to a lot of indie band nights. What's the trend?
There's a lot of mullets. I don't know where it's come from. Do you remember Bob from the recording day at Christmas?
Yeah,
he's got a mullet now. It's quite it's indie music.
Indie music, yeah.
Yeah, they go for the full mullet.
Do you know mullet is one of the few hairstyles that I could still grow. Like I everything's growing pretty well off the back. In fact, it might be the only hairstyle I can go for. I don't know.
I would love
It's a
to see
skullet.
I don't know. Is that a bald
skullet? Yeah, the old Bill Bailey.
I mean, I'm not getting a lot of sex now. I don't think a skullet's going to do a lot for me.
You never know until you try.
That's true.
I know. I think there's something.
You can weave it into a pigtail and give Bondi something to hang on to.
Oh, Jesus.
Pigtails. Oh, come here, Dan.
That's why I shave my head. So I've got no purchase. My ears are a problem, though. They're like fucking handles.
Oh, yeah.
I like big ears on a girl.
I thought you were about to say on a 4-year-old comedian. You like big ears on a girl?
Yeah, I'm into it. Have you seen Encanto?
Yeah.
You know the one who can hear dead good?
Right.
Oh, man.
Yeah. You know that the nose and the ears are the one part of the head that keeps growing. So maybe older women is the way you should go. Because their ears are going to be massive.
Like the FA Cup.
They're big now.
Oh, fucking Beryl. That's why he volunteers at old people's homes.
But what's weird is I had a Dumbo toy from when I was born.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, do you walk around and go, look at the ears on that? Oh.
But my girlfriend gets upset because she has small ears.
Oh, no.
Wow.
And now you're just throwing it in her face.
But I like them on
podcast.
fellas as well. I want my ears to stick out more.
Big flappers.
I'm going to get them pinned forward.
I like the fucking BFG.
Yeah. I like that as a kid as well. I'm fucked up.
Who the fuck has ever talked about the BFG and gone, you're fucking, yeah. I don't think there's much following that, boys.
No,
it's been an absolute pleasure.
It's been a lot of fun.
Could you tell us about your new podcast? It's not brand new, is it? You've done 10 episodes.
We've done 10 episodes. We call that a series. We're going to do them in a series of 10. The podcast is called Songs in the Key of Laugh. It's with my friend David Timms, who's a musical director, a keyboard genius, songwriter, and composer. He works with Mike Chapman. He's one of the people, Mike Chapman, who wrote a Blondie song, Simply the Best, for Chapman and Chin. He's in his 70s now, Mike Chapman. So David is a very well-respected songwriter, and it's just exploring musical comedians. I think musical comedy and musical comedians are kind of, there's a shit side to it.
Yep.
Where you just do, it's just musical parody. You just change the.
There's a lot of cynical, not very funny comedy out there that's done with a guitar.
Harlan Williams as a Canadian comedian, used to say like going, all you need to do is change one word, and he just play one note, and you go, he's got the whole world in his hair. He's got the whole wide world. You just change the word, or you even better just change one letter. Like Michael rode the go to shore. hell, that's musical at its worst. But at its best, you've got, I guess, like Monty Python, Eric Idle,
and Bo Burnham, people like that.
Bo Burnham, Bill Bailey.
Minchin's amazing, yeah.
To Minchin.
Flight of the Conchords is still some of my favorite comedy.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
And it's musical comedy. And I think you don't realize, so we kind of explore how ubiquitous musical comedy is in like jingles for, even the Crazy Frog, which drove everyone crazy. One of the biggest songs ever. It's just a comedy. It's really just a comedy track. But then also you've got like sound effects and stuff. You have jingles on this. So, technically they're comedy songs. Yeah. Someone wrote them. Someone to sit down.
Yeah.
So we just kind of take it apart. And it's it's not quite as ruthless. It's a bit more, slightly more educational. Not even educational. But
I think most podcasts are, don't
exploratory. Like we're just
we're
just trying to explore the genre. And
where can we find you, Phil?
Well, you can go to songsinthekeyoflaugh.com or it's on Acast.
All right, great.
Can you smile and when you say that's great? You'd like try.
Hey!
There you go. Say it again.
That's great. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on.
Thanks, man.
Go check out Vittorio's previews, one at Gulliver's in Manchester, one at Phase 1. We will stick the links in for those in the descriptions. My new monthly comedy club is the Comedians Club Chester. It's at the St. Mary's Creative Space, and it launches on June the 11th. There's only 200 tickets for that show, and Phil Nichol is going to be... So I cannot... it's really weird waxing lyrical about someone's comedy while they're sat there. But Phil is one of the most mesmerising headliners you will see in British comedy. The first time I saw him was when he dragged me from the bar to be the sound tech. And I sat there mesmerised going, I want to do this, and I'm not sure I ever will be able to do it to this level. And I'm so chuffed that he's the guy that's going to open... the comedy club in Chester. So get tickets. The link is in the YouTube comments. It's been an absolute pleasure, my friend.
Yeah, thanks.
And Vittorio, thanks for being our co-host, man.
No, it's all right. If you want to actually hear Adam's on my podcast this week, so whenever this comes out on Saturday/Mondays, when I do my early release in public, King Lid will be on.
And that's the Roofie Pod, so check it out. The
Roofie called Vittorio's podcast. Fuck your brands.
All right, Liz, look after yourself. The Patreon exclusive next week is going to have Adam back. Oh, and we've got Eshaan next week with Adam back.
Yes.
He's back off tour. So thanks for sticking with us. Appreciate you. Megan, go ahead. All right. Yeah. Lovely shit.